Chapter 1149. It was quiet in the room at this time, and it seemed that both of them had calmed down in an instant. Although Chu Qing's face was very ugly, he did not get angry anymore. After taking a sip of water with a cold face, Princess Yuyan put down the teacup in her hand and said, "Commandery Prince Qing, I'll say it again. I don't like your Commandery Prince Qing's mansion or your Princess Qing, and I won't do anything to your woman. You can rest assured." The disdain in her words was obvious. Chu Qing's face turned livid again with a trace of hostility. He hated it when others spoke to him in such a tone, as if he were a pile of mud that could not be helped. He had known that Princess Yuyan did not want to marry him, but he did not doubt Chu Liuchen's previous words. It was one thing whether Princess Yuyan liked him or not. Given her character, it was normal for her to want to make a move on him because she did not want other women around him. Since he appeared in front of everyone, Chu Qing had been ridiculed by others. 8 out of 10 people looked at him with some contempt, as if he should not appear in front of everyone. Why was it that when Chu Liuchen appeared, everyone was cautious and did not dare to look at him for fear of provoking him, but when he appeared, not only did no one pay attention to him, but they also looked at him with disdain. From this point of view, Chu Qing did not like Princess Yuyan at all. What was the difference between her and those who despised him? He wished he could dig out such people's eyes and let them see clearly. But now it was not the time to fall out with Princess Yuyan. He still had to borrow Princess Yuyan and the place in the Su Kingdom. "So what if you don't want to marry me? When I was in the Su Kingdom, I told Consort Li about it, and in the end, she still let you marry me, didn't she?" Chu Qing said calmly, but there was still a hint of sarcasm in his words. Didn't she like him? Didn't she know how important she was? Did she want others to stop marrying her? It depended on whether he wanted her or not. Chu Qing's attitude also made Princess Yuyan furious. She had never suffered such a great grievance. She was inexplicably involved with Chu Qing, and her mother did not allow her to go back on her word, saying that it was good. What's so good about it? I don't want to marry a good-for-nothing like Chu Qing at all. After calming down, Princess Yuyan felt that it was better to speak calmly. This was the kingdom of Eastern Song, she could not be willful. No matter how calm she was, she still had something to ask of Chu Qing, so she couldn't fall out with him. Our horoscopes are not very compatible. Even if we really get together, I'm afraid it won't be good. You might as well help me and let me marry into another family. When the time comes, it will also be of help to you. Princess Yuyan's attitude became amiable. When she looked at Chu Qing, she even revealed a trace of a smile. Are you crazy? Do you really like Chu Liuchen? Chu Qing widened his eyes and said in disbelief. Not only Chu Liuchen, but also Chu Luyue. Prince Yu is the emperor's eldest son, right? Princess Yuyan glanced at him from the corner of her eyes without a care and gave him another plan. No matter which one of them is, their current situation is better than yours. If I enter either of their manners, I promise you that I will definitely help you and help you achieve great things. This is my imperial mother's wish, I will not disobey. Princess Yuyan spoke as if it was a matter of course, as if she was wholeheartedly thinking for Chu Qing. It was very dignified. Chu Qing wished he could give this shameless woman 2 tight slaps. If he had known earlier that she would be restless, he would not have done so. He didn't expect that she was still so restless at this point. Help him achieve great things. If she was not going to marry him, he was convinced that this woman would definitely buy him out in the end. Who on earth do you like? Suppressing his anger, Chu Qing asked with his eyes slightly rippling. He was waiting for this woman to be badly hurt. At that time, not to mention being the princess, a concubine might be enough. Seeing that Chu Qing agreed with her idea, Princess Yuyan was satisfied. She thought for a moment and said, in fact, Prince Chen is really good. It would be best if he could marry into Prince Chen's mansion, but with Princess Chen around, I'm afraid it won't be easy. Why don't we? It's not impossible to get rid of Princess Chen. She has always been in poor health. Chu Qing interrupted her. Princess Yuyan thought for a while and felt that it was still not possible. Princess Chen, Xiao Wanru, was too beautiful. Even if she didn't admit it on the surface, she had to admit it in her heart. Prince Yu. After all, he hasn't married yet, so there will be less resistance. Although Prince Yu hasn't married yet, he is going to marry Prime Minister Zhang's daughter. Do you think Chu Luiyue will give up such a great help as Prime Minister Zhang for you? Chu Qing asked. I am the princess of a country, and behind me is the Su country. Princess Yu Yan said indifferently. So what? Who do you think Prince Yu will choose between the princess of a small and remote country and a powerful minister of the imperial court? Chu Qing rudely broke Princess Yu Yan's dream. A small and remote country and a powerful minister of the imperial court. These two metaphors were more appropriate. In fact, Princess Yu Yan had thought so, but now she had to admit it willingly. She gritted her teeth and said, I can be a vice concubine for the time being. A vice concubine can also help you succeed. If you fail, I can also protect you in Prince Yu's mansion. When I ascend to that high position, you can assist me. Since she was willing to be a vice concubine, why didn't she enter his commandery Prince Qing's mansion to be a vice concubine? It was obvious that she looked down on him or thought it impossible for him. Chu Qing hated him, but he didn't show it on his face. Only a trace of viciousness flashed across his eyes. This should not only be Princess Yu Yan's idea, but also concubine Li's. On the one hand, she hooked him and said that she would help him succeed wholeheartedly. On the other hand, she let her daughter have other ideas and let him be her assistant. At that time, Chu Qing knew that concubine Li was not a simple woman. Now he saw this fact more clearly. This was not the relationship between the master and the assistant, but the monarch and the minister. There could be no mistake. Concubine Li was indeed a restless woman, as his mother said. Compared with Mo's faction, she was more tactful and more likely to have ulterior motives. They wanted to take his position and make him their subordinate. They were really daring. Even if you are willing to be a vice concubine, Prime Minister Zhang's mansion may not agree. Chu Luiyue can't go against Prime Minister Zhang's will for you. Chu Qing frowned slightly, as if he was really thinking about Princess Yu Yan. He didn't want to intervene in this matter. No matter what happened to Yu Yan in the end, it had nothing to do with him. One thing was certain, neither Chu Luchen nor Chu Luiyue was easy to trick. After returning, he should come here less often and keep a distance from Princess Yu Yan. That's not necessarily true. Is Prime Minister Zhang's daughter more beautiful than me? Moreover, my mother is the of the Su country, and my brother is the future king of the Su country. For this reason, he will definitely want to marry me. Princess Yu Yan said proudly. She didn't believe that Chu Luiyue wouldn't be tempted. When they looked at each other that day, Prince Yu clearly appreciated her. She was amazed at first sight, and she couldn't be wrong. Well, it's up to you, but you have to deal with it carefully. Don't let others get hold of you. Chu Qing didn't intend to persuade her, so he nodded at once and agreed with her idea. Then he stood up and said, since you don't want to marry me, I should also avoid arousing suspicion. I won't come here during this period of time. Don't come to me if you have nothing to do, lest others misunderstand you. Of course, he was afraid that Chu Luiyue would misunderstand him. If Chu Luiyue was really interested in Princess Yu Yan, he would definitely not want Princess Yu Yan to be too close to another man, especially this man was Chu Qing, who was rumored to marry Princess Yu Yan. Princess Yu Yan felt that it was very reasonable, and she couldn't help but find Chu Qing pleasing to the eye. There was a charming smile on her face, which was amiable with a woman's tenderness, just like the beautiful scene when she and Chu Qing met for the first time in the Su country. You're really thoughtful. I will pay attention to it. But I've just arrived here, and there are many things I don't know. I need some information. Princess Yu Yan, don't worry. These are trivial matters. I will ask someone to secretly give you information, from Chu Luiyue to Chu Liuxin, and even to Prince Cheng. Chu Qing agreed immediately. Since he had made up his mind to let Princess Yu Yan explore the way ahead, of course, he would help her a little. It was not a problem to get some popular information, which could be regarded as letting Princess Yu Yan understand his kindness and relax her vigilance against him. Thank you, Commandery Prince Qing. Princess Yu Yan was happy, and her etiquette became more thorough. She turned to the side and bowed to Chu Qing. With a smile, she reassured Chu Qing, "Don't worry. After I succeed, I will help you ascend the path to the top. This has always been your path, and no one is more suitable than you." "Thank you, Princess Yu Yan." Chu Qing also bowed back politely. The two of them came and went, showing the style of aristocratic families. If one only saw this scene, no one would think that they had almost fought before. Chu Qing left contentedly. Princess Yu Yan specially sent him to the door. When she saw his carriage leaving, she specially waved her hand to show that the guest and the host were harmonious. After Chu Qing's carriage left, she entered the house. Instead of going to her own courtyard, she went to Princess Yu Tao's courtyard. This house was very large, but the two princesses lived on one side, far away from each other's courtyard. If she did not go there deliberately, she would not meet them by chance. Princess Yu Tao had already ordered the palace maids to light up the lanterns in the room. When she heard that Princess Yu Yan had come, she was slightly startled. She then had someone invite Princess Yu Yan in. "Big sister, have you thought about which guests you want to invite?" Princess Yu Yan asked with a smile the moment she entered the room. Her attitude was amiable. "I'm thinking. I just thought of these names. Do you want to add some more?" Princess Yu Tao pointed at a piece of paper on the table. There were only a few names on it, and Princess Chen's name was impressively written on it. "Elder sister, let me do it. Princess Yuan will come tomorrow, and I'll discuss with her about who we should invite. We've just arrived here, and we don't have anyone to guide us. I'm afraid that we'll make mistakes. What do you think?" Princess Yu Yan's attitude was completely different from before. Those who were not in the know would think that she had changed. Princess Yu Tao, on the other hand, was not surprised at all. She did not want to do this in the first place, so it was best for Princess Yu Yan to take over. She said indifferently, "Then take it." "Thank you, big sister." Princess Yu Yan was overjoyed, and her etiquette became even more thorough. She had to carefully draft this name list with Royal Princess Yuan pen. Chapter 1150. Yi Nyang's visit to Rui and Great Elder Princess's mansion did not go well. She couldn't even enter Rui and Great Elder Princess's mansion. Seeing that she was in such a state and had no name card, the people in the mansion naturally didn't send her a message. For 3 days in a row, Yi Nyang didn't see Rui and Great Elder Princess, so she was really a little anxious. After thinking for a night, she got up early the next day and rushed to wait outside the mansion. As expected, when the time came, Rui and Great Elder Princess's carriage came out of the mansion. Yesterday, she had heard that Rui and Great Elder Princess was going to see Princess Chen today. She left so early because she would go to the Imperial Palace to see the Empress Dowager after seeing Princess Chen. The carriage slowly came out of the mansion. Rui and Great Elder Princess, who was in the carriage, looked good. Compared with 3 years ago, she felt that she was much more energetic. She was no longer as timid and listless as before. Now she was energetic in everything she did. She was a smart granddaughter and a well-behaved and sensible grandson. Although she still felt sad when she thought of her daughter, thinking about the current situation, she felt that God was not too bad to her. She went to see Xiao Wanru after knowing that she was sick again. Seeing that Xiao Wanru was really fine, she was relieved. Today, she went out to see Xiao Wanru again and got up early to talk with her in Prince Chen's mansion. The carriage suddenly stopped. Due to the inertia, Rui and Great Elder Princess rushed forward and almost crashed out. Fortunately, the servant girls on both sides reacted quickly and hurriedly pulled her sleeves to stabilize her. "What's going on?" Nanny Gao struggled to stand firm with the help of the window and shouted angrily. The carriage stopped so suddenly that the person in the carriage almost had an accident. Reporting to Great Elder Princess, "Someone is stopping the carriage." The coachman was also shocked. The person suddenly rushed out from the side of the road, and he only had time to pull the reins tightly. Looking at the woman in front of him, the coachman was extremely angry. She rushed out like this and even reached out to stop the carriage openly. Was she not afraid of being hit by the carriage? He had heard that the carriage belonging to the Ruiping Great Elder Princess had an accident, causing Princess Yuan An's face to be disfigured. The coachman didn't have a good ending. Nanny Gao looked at Rui and Great Elder Princess. Seeing that she was fine, she lifted the curtain and got off the horse. She looked at the woman standing in front of the carriage and looked her up and down. She frowned and asked unhappily, "Who are you? Why do you stop the carriage of our Great Elder Princess?" This woman looked a little familiar. She was about 30 years old, but inexplicably made people unhappy. She looked a little too gentle, which Nanny Gao didn't like very much. "Gao Momo, do you still remember me?" Yin Yang knelt down with a plop sound and cried with tears. She looked at Gao Momo excitedly. "Who are you?" Gao Momo was shocked. She stepped back and looked at Yin Yang suspiciously. In the carriage, Rui and Great Elder Princess asked someone to lift the curtain and look down from the window. She also saw the woman kneeling in front of Nanny Gao. From her angle, she could only see the top of her head, so she couldn't recognize who the woman was. Although it was early, some people passed by. Seeing the scene in front of them, the passers-by stopped and didn't know what was going on. "Nanny Gao, I'm Yin Yang." "I'm Yin Yang." Seeing that Nanny Gao was still at a loss, Yin Yang walked a few steps on her knees and cried, "I'm Yin Yang, the servant girl of the Infanta." "Nanny Gao, do you still remember me?" "Infanta Qinghua." The servant girl Yin Yang. Nanny Gao was stunned. She reached out to rub her eyes and looked at Yin Yang again. In the carriage, Rui and Great Elder Princess's face changed greatly. This woman actually found her door. Zhuozhua had asked her to be on guard before. A trace of fierceness flashed in her eyes. Marquis Xing's mansion repeatedly plotted against Zhuozhua. Now they failed to plot against Zhuozhua and plotted against her. "Nanny Gao, go back to the mansion." Rui and Great Elder Princess said coldly without hesitation. "Yes, go back to the mansion first." Nanny Gao immediately reacted and told the coachman. Although the coachman didn't understand why he came out and came back, he certainly didn't dare to disobey his master's order. The carriage turned around and went back to the mansion. "This young lady, you come in first. Let's go in and talk." "Are you? I really can't recognize you." Gao Mama politely reached out and pulled Yin Yang up. She reached out and patted her clothes and said. Yin Yang was overjoyed to be able to enter the mansion so easily. It seemed that Rui and Great Elder Princess cared more about Infanta Qinghua than Princess Chen. That was good. The more she cared, the better. She followed Nanny Gao into the mansion and waited outside a nearby yard. After a while, she saw Rui and Great Elder Princess coming over surrounded by a group of servant girls and old maids. When she came to Yin Yang, she stopped. "Greetings, Great Elder Princess." Yin Yang knelt down and didn't dare to look up. Her eyes only fell on the feet of Rui and Great Elder Princess in front of her. After a long while, the feet moved. "Get up first." Nanny Gao pulled her and asked her to get up. Yin Yang got up cautiously and followed Nanny Gao, not daring to look at her casually. When she arrived at the main room and saw Rui and Great Elder Princess sitting high, she knelt down again and said, "Greetings, Great Elder Princess. Are you the girl who accompanied Qinghua back?" Rui and Great Elder Princess's eyes fell on the woman coldly, and a trace of hatred and anger flashed in her eyes. Marquis Xing's mansion, it was Marquis Xing's mansion again. "Yes. I am. Great Elder Princess, I finally met you. I thought I would never see you again in my life." Yin Yang's voice choked with excitement and she cried in a low voice. "Tell me what happened to you. Didn't you say that you followed Marquis Xing? What do you mean now?" Rui and Great Elder Princess calmed down and asked slowly. Her heart was burning with hatred. Originally, she thought that with her granddaughter and grandson, she could forget all these unhappy things. Now she found that she didn't forget them, but buried them deep in her heart. Yin Yang was not surprised that Rui and Great Elder Princess knew about it. Since she came here, she had planned it early. Princess Chen had told Rui and Great Elder Princess about her. Princess. I had no choice. At that time, I accompanied Infanta back and then served Infanta until she gave birth to the little heir. Madame Jiang hated me to the core. Infanta was gone, so I had no choice but to follow the Marquis. Otherwise, I couldn't even survive. Later, I left Marquis Xing's mansion. Yin Yang said while wiping her tears. She lowered her head as if her tears could not be wiped clean. She thought of her situation in Marquis Xing's mansion. At that time, Infanta Qinghua had died. She was a helpless servant girl. Moreover, because Infanta Qinghua offended Madame Jiang, she had no one to protect her. She could only rely on Xiao Jing, Marquis Xing, who was okay. Rui and Great Elder Princess was immersed in the grief of losing her biological daughter. How could she think of a little servant girl? Did you follow Marquis Xing for this reason? Rui and Great Elder Princess asked in a deep voice. First Princess, I really had no choice at that time. If I didn't follow the Marquis, I'm afraid that I would have lost my life. In fact, it's not a pity for me to die, but I just think that Madame Jiang is too. Yin Yang said, wiped her tears hard, raised her eyes and looked at Rui and Great Elder Princess imploringly. Great Elder Princess, if it weren't for Madame Jiang, my master wouldn't have died so early. What do you mean? Rui and Great Elder Princess pressed her hand hard on the corner of the table. Great Elder Princess, I met the little master before, but I didn't tell her about it. I was afraid that the little master would make trouble because of her young age. After all, it was seen by a servant girl of mine, and it has been so many years. Even if I told her, others wouldn't believe me. Yin Yang said. She cleverly explained that she went to find Xiao Wanru before. She explained the reason why she didn't tell Xiao Wanru about it. Rui and Great Elder Princess felt that she really looked down on this servant girl called Yin Yang and slowly pressed her hand on her chest. Tell me. When the Infanta gave birth to the little heir, she was delirious, but occasionally she would be sober for a while. Every time at this time, Madame Jiang would deliberately ask someone to talk about the late heir, saying that the Infanta harmed the late heir and that it was the Infanta's fault that the late heir had an accident. If it weren't for the Infanta, the late heir wouldn't have. Yin Yang choked with sobs and felt indignant for her master. If it weren't for Madame Jiang who asked people to talk about this from time to time, the Infanta wouldn't have. Great Elder Princess, it was Madame Jiang who forced the Infanta to die. At that time, I stayed alive just to tell Great Elder Princess these things and to avenge the Infanta. Great Elder Princess. I can die without regret now. Yin Yang said with grief and indignation. If one only looked at her appearance, she indeed had the image of a servant girl who was loyal to her master. Rui and Great Elder Princess felt that if her granddaughter hadn't reminded her in advance, she would have been moved by this servant girl at this moment and even blamed herself, thinking that it was all her fault. She didn't think of this servant girl at that time, so she had to save herself and rely on others. She even thought that the reason why she became Xiao Jing's mistress was probably that she hated the Jiang family. In this kind of time, she would definitely help such a person in the past. Of course, she would also want to use her to deal with the Jiang family. After all, the Jiang family didn't appear in front of people now. Even if Rui and Great Elder Princess wanted to go out in person, she had no chance. The timing was very good. Everything was almost according to her character. With her character, she would definitely avenge her daughter and make the Jiang family suffer. What better way than to take away everything that the Jiang family cared about most? If it weren't for her granddaughter, she would have fallen into the trap. You're very good. You've suffered for so many years. I was negligent at that time and didn't know your situation. Rui and Great Elder Princess said. I don't suffer. As long as it's for the Infanta, I'm not afraid of being smashed to pieces. But Madame Jiang. Madame Jiang. I'm helpless. Please help the Infanta. Great Elder Princess, the Infanta died unjustly. Yin Yang cried so hard that she couldn't speak, but she still kowtowed to Rui and Great Elder Princess a few times, raised her head and said with hatred. This was the image of a loyal servant who would do anything for her master. Anyone who heard her explanation and saw her sad and angry look would think what she said was true. Chapter 1151. Madam of Jiang, I will not let her go. Ruyan Great Elder Princess gnashed her teeth. Great Elder Princess, if Great Elder Princess wants to avenge the princess, I'm willing to sacrifice myself to do so. Please tell me what to do. Seeing that the time was right, Anyang kowtowed again and looked at Ruyan Great Elder Princess earnestly with a determined look on her face. What do you want now? If you want to leave Marquis Xing's mansion, you can. Great Elder Princess frowned. Anyang shook her head hard and said, Great Elder Princess, I will not leave. I will not leave until I avenge the Infanta. Otherwise, I will not leave even if I die. You want to avenge Qinghua? Ruyan Great Elder Princess looked at her and asked after a long time. Yes, I want to avenge the Infanta. My life was saved by the Infanta. Without the Infanta, I would have died long ago. How could there be another slave? Anyang said again with hatred in her eyes, I want to enter Marquis Xing's mansion. Madame Jiang is different now. I can definitely find a way to deal with her and let her pay for the Infanta's life. You're just a concubine. If Xiao Jing really valued you, he wouldn't have let you wander outside for so many years. He's the legal wife. Rui and Great Elder Princess said noncommittally. She just stated a fact. Don't worry, Great Elder Princess. As long as I enter Marquis Xing's mansion, I will avenge the Infanta even at the cost of my life. Anyang gritted her teeth and said, for so many years, I have been trying to avenge the Infanta, but I have never had a chance. Now it is the best chance to deal with the Jiang family. I will never let it go. You are just a concubine. How can you enter Marquis Xing's mansion? Even if you enter the mansion, you are just a concubine. Since you are a concubine, you are below the Jiang family. As the legal wife, she has many ways to deal with you. If you enter the mansion, you will just die. Ruyan Great Elder Princess said. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid even if I die. Anyang insisted. Seeing that she was so determined, Rui and Great Elder Princess pursed her lips and stopped talking. Nanny Gao seemed to be moved by her and couldn't help saying, Great Elder Princess, since Anyang thinks so, please fulfill her wish. Let her enter the family with a higher status and ask Marquis Xing to give her the position of a co-wife so that she can have the ability to fight against the Jiang family. How can a mere servant girl like her fight against Madame Jiang? She is, after all, my son's loyal servant. How can I bear to see her sink into the mud again? Rui and Great Elder Princess sighed, picked up a handkerchief and wiped her eyes. Get up. I will avenge my son by myself. If Great Elder Princess doesn't agree, I won't get up. Yi Nyang was still kneeling. She placed her hands on the ground and clenched them tightly as she insisted. Great Elder Princess, please do as she says. This girl is also affectionate and loyal. She protected the Infanta back that year and now wants to avenge the Infanta. After this matter is over, you can protect her and her daughter. Nanny Gao persuaded again. It was obvious that she was also moved by Yi Nyang. You have a daughter. Rui and Great Elder Princess seemed to be moved and asked, if something happens to you, what will your daughter do? I have a daughter. Although my daughter was born outside, she is well educated, loyal and reasonable. She won't stop me. If something happens to me, she is still the miss of Marquis Xing's mansion. The Jiang family can't do anything to her, can they? Moreover, even if they really want to deal with my daughter, I won't regret it. Yes. Yi Nyang said sadly. Seeing her like this, Rui and Great Elder Princess sighed and asked Nanny Gao to help her up. Well, I promise you that I can give you an identity and let you enter Marquis Xing's mansion as a co-wife. Thank you, Great Elder Princess. Thank you, Great Elder Princess. Yi Nyang looked sad but excited. Your daughter. I can also find the right time to recognize her as a foster relative. Rui and Great Elder Princess favored her more. The foster relative of Rui and Great Elder Princess, even if it was just a title, would also improve the identity of a mistress from another family. This was more than a little benefit for Yi Nyang. Yi Nyang wanted to kneel down to thank her again, but was stopped by Rui and Great Elder Princess. She said, "You go back first. I will think about it again. How to properly arrange your identity. We can't let Xiao Jing feel something different. At that time, he will kill you." Thank you, Great Elder Princess. Thank you, Great Elder Princess. Yi Nyang thanked her repeatedly and then asked the servant girl to take her away. After she left, Great Elder Princess smashed the teacup in her hand on the ground fiercely. Her face darkened. How dare you lie to me? Enter Marquis Xing's mansion with a good identity? To deal with the Jiang family? If Zhuozhuo hadn't reminded me in advance, I'm afraid I would have been fooled this time. I've regarded a servant girl who betrayed her master as a loyal person. She could even guess her character so accurately. It could be seen that she had been secretly scheming against her for a long time. Your Highness, don't be angry. Didn't Princess Chen expect it? Nanny Gao tried to persuade her. It was also Princess Chen's idea that she cooperated with Great Elder Princess to play such a role. Let's go to Prince Chen's mansion. Rui and Great Elder Princess stood up and gave an order. She was particularly eager to see her granddaughter and talk about it. Nanny Gao asked someone to prepare a carriage again. This time, no one stopped them. The carriage went out of the gate of Great Elder Princess's mansion and went straight to Prince Chen's mansion. Chu Luchen went to the study early. There was only Xiao Wanru in the inner courtyard. She had just got up. Hearing that her grandma had come, she was stunned for a moment and hurriedly asked someone to invite her. Grandma, what happened? Seeing Rui and Great Elder Princess come in with a livid face, Xiao Wanru hurriedly stood up, took 2 steps forward and bowed to her before asking. Rui and Great Elder Princess took Xiao Wanru's hand and led her to the seat to sit down. Then she said angrily, I saw that girl. Xiao Jing's servant girl. How dare she dream of getting a high position? Did Yi Nyang come to see you? Xiao Wanru asked, not surprised. After being rejected by her, she would definitely go to see her grandma. Neither Xiao Jing nor Yi Nyang would give up. Yes, she said that she wanted to avenge your mother and said that she would risk her life to enter Marquis Xing's mansion. I did what you said and said that I would give her a good identity and let her enter Marquis Xing's mansion as a co-wife. She was so happy that she couldn't cry. Rui and Great Elder Princess was furious. Her daughter had been dead for so many years, but she was still plotted against in this way. Thinking of it, her heart ached. She reached out to cover her chest, only feeling that her heartbeat was out of rhythm, as if something was pricked on her old wound. The wound that had not healed before flowed thick blood again. How could she not hate? She almost overturned the entire crown prince of Marquis Xing with hatred. Grandma, rest assured. No matter how my mother died, it must have something to do with Marquis Xing's mansion. Xiao Wanru's eyes flashed with a trace of hostility, but she immediately suppressed it. She hadn't completely forgotten about her mother. She knew clearly that she didn't want her grandma to worry about her at this time. Her grandma seemed to be in good health, but in fact, after so many years of sadness, this strong old woman had long been tortured with injuries. Before everything was settled, Xiao Wanru didn't intend to tell her grandma everything, lest her grandma would worry, be angry, be depressed, and get worse in health. That servant girl was not sent by me as a dowry. She should have been given to your mother by Marquis Xing's mansion. I don't know if it was given to her by that old woman. Later, I saw her by your mother's side, but she was not the most intimate one. There were many servants by your mother's side. Rui and great elder princess calmed down a little, said to Xiao Wanru, and then took Xiao Wanru's hand and asked. What should we do now? I'll do as you said and appease her first. Since she entered the mansion to fight with the madam of the Jiang family, let her fight. Xiao Wanru said disapprovingly. She would not sympathize with the madam of the Jiang family, nor would she agree with her mother. In this case, she would just watch them fight. Grandma, you can get her an identity, a fake identity, but don't get her involved with you. No matter how they investigate, they can't find out that it is you. Xiao Wanru said. Her grandma shouldn't get too involved in it. It was better to stay away from these two women. This is easy. I can give her an identity. I happen to hear something that can be used. With her granddaughter comforting her, Rui and great elder princess soon calmed down. She wiped the corners of her eyes with a handkerchief, thought for a while, and then turned her head and asked Nanny Gao, did that family lose their daughter before? Yes, it means that they lost their daughter. I know what to do. Nanny Gao immediately understood what Rui and great elder princess meant and nodded repeatedly. Grandma, does it have anything to do with you? Xiao Wanru said worriedly. It has nothing to do with me directly. Don't worry. Rui and great elder princess patted Xiao Wanru's hand with gentle eyes and felt gratified. Grandma, let's do as you say, but don't tell my mother about it too early. Leave her alone for a few days. If she comes to the mansion again, you can let meet her. She should not only have a way to deal with you, but also to deal with Xiao Wanru said concisely. She still wants to deal with Xiao Great elder princess was furious. She clenched the handkerchief in her hand tightly, as if she was pinching her mother. Grandma, Xiao will be the heir of Marquis Xing's mansion in the future. Maybe he will inherit Marquis Xing's mansion, so he has to be independent. No matter how well you protect him, he has to get in touch with everything outside. Since they come to us, let Xiao understand the affairs of Marquis Xing's mansion. He is not young now, so he should understand things. Xiao Wanru comforted Rui and great elder princess in a soft voice. Xiao had grown up and was very smart. The only thing that dissatisfied Xiao Wanru was that Xiao didn't say that he liked or disliked those people in Marquis Xing's mansion very much. Although he didn't like some things, he, who didn't know the inside story, could always find reasons for the crown prince of Marquis Xing. However, he couldn't be blamed. When he was a child, he didn't know how to beat people. He was just a spoiled bully. This time, he could see the true face of Marquis Xing's mansion clearly. There was no kindness in it, only the blood feud of his parents. In case he would be used by Marquis Xing's mansion in the future and go against her and her grandma. She would take this matter as a whetstone for Xiao Chapter 1152. As soon as Infanta Yuan arrived at Princess Yu Yan's courtyard, she saw Princess Yu Yan coming out with a smile. Seeing her affectionately, Princess Yu Yan pulled her back and said, Infanta Yuan, I happen to have something to talk to you about. Princess, what's the matter? Infanta Yuan looked around and did not find Chu Qing. Come in and you'll know. Princess Yu Yan pulled her in with a smile. After they sat down, she smiled and handed a piece of paper to Infanta Yuan. Help me take a look. What do you think of the people I've invited? Only Princess Yu Yan knew most of the people here. Even if they did not know it before, they had weighed the pros and cons now. Infanta Yuan looked at it and was shocked. The people Princess Yu Yan invited were all invited, or it was good to be on good terms with her at this time. Did Princess Yu Yan have someone behind her? This is very good, but Prince Yu, Prince Shou, Prince Chen, Prince Xian, and Commandery Prince Qing may not come. Infanta Yuan put down the paper in her hand and said with a smile. I still need your help with Prince Zhou's affairs. As for Prince Yu and Prince Xian, I'll go there myself. Big sister told Princess Chen that day in Prince Chen's mansion that they should come together. Princess Yu Yan arranged in an orderly manner. Princess wants to go to Prince Yu's mansion to invite people in person. Infanta Yuan looked up and asked in surprise. What are you afraid of? It's not that I can't find them. I just need to ask someone, Princess Yu Yan said indifferently. There is no mistress in Prince Yu's mansion. I'm afraid it's not good for you to come here so suddenly. Infanta Yuan reminded her implicitly. I know there is no mistress in Prince Yu's mansion, but I have no choice. I can't not invite Prince Yu just because there is no mistress in Prince Yu's mansion. Princess Yu Yan sighed and said. But the smile on her face did not match her regretful tone. It even made people feel that she was very happy that there was no mistress in Prince Yu's mansion. Infanta Yuan's eyes flashed, and she suppressed a trace of displeasure in her heart. Could it be that when Princess Yu Yan sees Prince Shou, she would also think of Prince Shou? After all, the situation in Prince Shou's mansion was similar to Prince Yu's mansion. Princess Yu Yan is right. I was too narrow-minded. Countess Yuan smiled and apologized. This caused Princess Yu Yan to have a good impression of him. She smiled and explained, we are the princesses of the Su Kingdom. For our first banquet, we have to invite people from the royal family. Everyone is around the same age and there are only a few princes. We should at least get to know each other. The Emperor of the Eastern Sung Kingdom will definitely be happy to see us getting along well. What else could Commandery Princess Yuan say when it came to the national level? He could not say that it was inappropriate for Princess Yu Yan to go to Prince Yu's residence alone. Anyway, he had already persuaded her. Whether Princess Yu Yan listened or not had nothing to do with him. At that time, he wouldn't be able to blame it on himself. His lips curled up silently. The two princesses have drafted a good piece of paper. However, not all the people on the paper will come. Princess, please be prepared. Many people from the Su Kingdom came to the capital to watch. I know. However, most of them will still come. Princess Yu Yan and the people around her had thought for a long time last night. Today, she showed it to Commandery Princess Yuan. On the one hand, she wanted to ask Commandery Princess Yuan for advice. On the other hand, she wanted Commandery Princess Yuan to explain. Otherwise, it would be hard for Princess Yu Tao to ask about it. Princess Yu Tao did not know many people. She had never heard of some of the people on the list. Princess Yu Yan could not explain why there were so many people on the list that she had never heard of. It's good that Princess knows. I'm afraid that the princess who has high expectations will be disappointed. The princes have made arrangements. What about Commandery Prince Qing? Did he come today? Commandery Princess Yuan calmly brought the topic to Chu Qing. He came yesterday. He won't come today. Princess Yu Yan said indifferently. She picked up the list and looked at it again. She felt very satisfied. Yesterday. Commandery Prince Qing came so quickly. Commandery Princess Yuan said with a smile. She rolled her eyes and said, Princess Chen is really capable. I thought he would come at least today. I didn't expect that he would get it done yesterday. The smile on Princess Yu Yan's face faded. She did not think much about it before. Now that she thought about it, she really had such a feeling. She immediately felt awkward and put down the paper in her hand. Did Prince Yu really propose to Princess Chen? Does Prince Chen know about it? Her current target was Prince Yu. Prince Chen should not know about it. The Empress would not take the initiative to tell him about it. Prince Chen is not the kind of person who would inquire about this kind of thing. Commandery Princess Yuan shook her head. In fact, it is not strange that Prince Yu proposed to marry Princess Chen. I heard that they knew each other before Princess Chen came to the capital. But at that time, everyone was young and did not have this idea. Princess Chen had not returned to the family. Princess Chen used to be the daughter of Ningyuan Army General. why is she said to be the miss of Marquis Xing's mansion? Princess Yu Yan rolled her eyes and asked. She knew about it, but she did not know the specific situation. She inexplicably felt that there was something in it. Well, they said it was because of the former heir of Marquis Xing and Infanta Qinghua. I don't know the details. Commandery Princess Yuan thought for a while and said vaguely. Do you think they made a mistake? Princess Yu Yan asked. Commandery Princess Yuan suddenly sat up straight and said hesitantly, it can't be. I heard that it was confirmed at that time, and it was also approved by old Madam of Marquis Xing and Rui, and Great Elder Princess. It can't be wrong. You see, after I asked this, Commandery Princess is also confused. What if many people said so? Princess Yu Yan said with a hint of smile. Well. Commandery Princess Yuan thought seriously and said with certainty, the people of Marquis Xing's mansion and Rui, and Great Elder Princess's mansion will not think so. So what if they don't think so? What if everyone thinks so? I heard that the current situation of Marquis Xing's mansion is not good, and they don't get along well with this Princess Chen. I also heard that this Princess Chen is not close to her biological grandmother, and even ruined the reputation of old Madam. Princess Yu Yan said indifferently. Commandery Princess Yuan suddenly smiled and said, if so, maybe Marquis Xing's mansion will also go back on their words, but I'm afraid it will not be easy. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. I hope your highness can help me. Princess Yu Yan whispered in Commandery Princess Yuan's ear. How could the future Princess Zhou and Princess Chen get along well? They were destined to be rivals. Princess Yu Yan saw it clearly when Commandery Princess Yuan led them to Prince Chen's mansion yesterday. Well. I'm afraid I can't help you. Commandery Princess Yuan looked embarrassed. It's just a little help. Won't your highness help me with such a little help? Princess Yu Yan was displeased and stared at Commandery Princess Yuan. Your highness's idea is good, but not many people will agree with you in a short time. Even if old Madam of Marquis Xing doesn't like Princess Chen, she will not rashly say that Princess Chen is not her biological granddaughter. Seeing that the time was ripe, Commandery Princess Yuan said with a smile. Princess Yu Yan smiled and narrowed her eyes. She liked the meaning in Commandery Princess Yuan's words. I just looked at the list of your highness, and Zhang Qilan is also on it. She is the future Princess Yu, but because of what happened between Prince Yu and Princess Chen, she has a lot of opinions about Princess Chen. But before that, they were a pair of close girlfriends. When the two princesses entered the city that day, I saw Zhang Qilan standing downstairs with a jealous face and looking at Princess Chen upstairs. Commandery Princess Yuan paused for a moment. As expected, she saw that Princess Yu Yan became spirited and her eyes lit up. There is a conflict between Princess Yu and Princess Chen, and they used to be on good terms. Princess Yu Yan grasped the key point and was overjoyed. She had such an immature idea before. Now after Commandery Princess Yuan's suggestion, she suddenly felt that this idea was feasible. If she had said this before in order to sound out Commandery Princess Yuan, now it was a really exciting idea. She wanted to deal with Miss Zhang and Xiao Wanru. No matter who they were not easy to deal with. But what if they made trouble? Princess, the relationship between them is very good, but it has not been good recently. After that, Zhang Qilan has not seen Princess Chen. Princess Chen still regards Zhang Qilan as her best friend. If we can make Princess Chen's reputation plummet, old Madam of Marquis Xing's mansion will say that Princess Chen is not her biological granddaughter. At this time, we can push it, Commandery Princess Yuan said with a smile. She had been worried that she had no chance to deal with Xiao Wanru. Now Princess Yu Yan came in, and it was just the right time. Good, that's a good idea. Princess Yu Yan understood and was overjoyed. She clapped her hands repeatedly. Fortunately, there is a princess. I feel like old friends with the princess at first sight, but Prince Consort Chen loathes each other. I can't stand this kind of delicate and weak appearance. Although Princess Chen only looked delicate, Princess Yu Yan disliked her very much. Why did the two men she liked want to marry Xiao Wanru? In front of Xiao Wanru, her proud appearance was not outstanding at all, and even made her, a dignified princess, become the background. Your Highness, I'm just afraid that Prince Chen will feel bad after knowing this. Forget it. Seeing that Princess Yu Yan took the bait, Commandery Princess Yuan hesitated again. She seemed to want to do it but did not dare to do it. She smiled bitterly and said, Your Highness, I'm afraid that you don't know that Prince Chen treats Princess Chen very well. My second brother almost bumped into Princess Chen on the stairs. Because of this, Prince Chen broke my second brother's arm, but in fact, my second brother did not touch Princess Chen at all. I can't believe such a thing happened. Your second brother is also the grandson of Great Elder Princess. How dare Prince Chen be so unscrupulous? Princess Yu Yan gasped, widened her eyes, and said in confusion. In fact, it's mainly because the Empress Dowager dotes on Prince Chen the most, and the Emperor can do nothing about him. Commandery Princess Yuan said helplessly. She was afraid that Princess Yu Yan would be really frightened, so she did not dare to say that the Emperor also doted on Prince Chen. As for the identity of concubine Lan in the palace, there was no need for a princess of a small foreign country to know. She was the future Princess Shou, and Princess Yu Yan in front of her was at most the legal wife of Commandery Prince Qing. If she wanted to marry into another prince's mansion, she could at most be a concubine. At this time, she was still a princess of the Su country. As a princess of a country, if she married into a prince's mansion, she would only be a concubine, which would be the same as her status in the future. For this reason, Commandery Princess Yuan looked down on Princess Yu Yan. But now, she needed Princess Yu Yan. Princess Yu Yan also made up her mind to make friends with Commandery Princess Yuan. The two of them had their own evil intentions, but they pretended to be intimate on the surface. They went to the window hand in hand to discuss how to deal with Xiao Wanru. End of this chapter. Chapter 1153. As the night fell, Xiao Yanru appeared in the dark with her maid, Moyan, in the high tower in the palace. A tightly wrapped figure appeared, pointed to a dark corner, and said in a hoarse voice, The thing Bao Lin wants is over there. Will there be a mistake? Xiao Yanru didn't go to take it directly. She looked at the figure in the dark and asked nervously. This was her last chance, so she specially came here. There will be no mistake. Don't worry, Bao Lin. The figure answered in a low voice. Don't call me Bao Lin. I'm not Bao Lin. Xiao Yanru suddenly flew into a rage and raised her eyebrows sharply. The word, Bao Lin, provoked her mood the most, and she hated this name to death. Mother of the world, what she wanted was the mother of the world, not this lowly Bao Lin. When Bao Lin is in the palace, he is naturally Bao Lin. The figure seemed to smile with an indescribable chill, but outside the palace, no one cares whether Bao Lin is the first miss or other misses. His words strangely calmed Xiao Yanru down. Suddenly she smiled and asked tentatively, In fact, you are my acquaintance, right? Bao Lin is wrong. I didn't know Bao Lin before. The figure in the dark laughed sarcastically, seeming to think that Xiao Yanru's words were too funny. I have been in the palace all the time, and I have no chance to go out to meet Bao Lin. If Bao Lin wants to talk about the old days, I'm afraid that you have mistaken me for someone else. I have something else to do, so I can't accompany Bao Lin. The figure in the dark walked inside. After a few steps, he heard Xiao Yanru's voice catching up with him, and suddenly stopped. Bao Lin, if you are not afraid of others knowing about what happened between you and me, please wait. After saying that, he continued to walk forward, but Xiao Yanru didn't chase after him. Her eyes fell on the place where the figure in front of her had not completely disappeared, and she pursed her lips tightly. She was 70% or 80% sure that this person was an old acquaintance of hers. But it was indeed not the best time, so she would let them pretend to be mysterious for a while. Bao Lin. Moyan took 2 steps forward and said in a low voice. Go and get the thing. Xiao Yanru calmed down her anger and said slowly. A little impatience would spoil a great plan. At this moment, she couldn't be flustered. Moyen hurriedly stepped forward, took out a small paper bag from that place, took it carefully, and handed it to Xiao Yanru, saying, "Bao Lin. Let's go." Xiao Yanru turned around. She would not come to this place for the time being. When she entered the imperial palace in the future, she would not be in such a gloomy situation. She wanted to enter the imperial palace above board as a high-ranking or the empress. A trace of hatred flashed in her eyes. How could a proud woman like her become the lowest Baolin, Xiao Baolin? What a joke! Even the imperial palace could not trap her. "Sister, I really can do it." Xiao Yuanhao stuck out his chest and patted it hard to show that he got it. In the pavilion, Xiao Wanru covered her mouth and smiled. She raised her watery eyes slightly and looked at Chu Luchen, who was leaning aside. This person was really lazy. Even though he came to her maternal grandma's mansion, he still behaved casually as if he were in his own mansion. Chu Luchen, who was leaning against the fence of the pavilion, also raised his eyes and looked at Xiao Wanru's watery eyes. He raised the corners of his thin lips silently and narrowed his eyes slightly, which was the same shape as the white and fat cat in his arms. Sure enough, the pet looked like the owner. "Yuanhao, come here." Chu Luchen waved to Xiao Yuanhao. "Brother-in-law, what's the matter?" Xiao Yuanhao immediately ran over. He was faster than her calling him over. Xiao Wanru felt that this younger brother was raised for Chu Luchen. Chu Luchen reached out and touched Xiao Yuanhao's hair. Xiao Yuanhao smiled comfortably and narrowed his eyes. Xiao Wanru felt that this child was like the cat in Chu Liuchen's arms. They only needed to snore and roll around to show their happiness. "Your sister is worried about your young age, so she specially comes to tell you." "Brother-in-law, do you think that you don't need to tell me anything? Yuanhao is a man now, and I should protect my sister in the future." Chu Luchen asked gently and looked more and more appreciative. Xiao Yuanhao puffed out his chest and said proudly, "Brother-in-law, don't worry. I have grown up and can protect grandma and sister in the future. I won't let grandma and sister worry about me anymore." "It's good that you think so. Your grandmother only has you and your elder sister now. Your elder sister only has you and great elder princess. You are the only man. Of course, you are the pillar of their family." Chu Luchen said with a smile. He was handsome and gentle. Xiao Yuanhao felt that his brother-in-law was a gentleman in books, so whatever he said was right. He looked at Chu Luchen with admiration and nodded repeatedly. He was the pillar of grandma and sister and the most indispensable man in the family. He should support his sister in the future. Thinking of this, Xiao Yuanhao suddenly hesitated. Supporting his sister actually included beating his brother-in-law, right? He heard from several classmates that if any brother-in-law treated their sister badly, his brother-in-law would beat him up. But his brother-in-law was such a gentle and elegant man. How could he bully his sister? So he didn't have to worry about it. As for being bullied by Chu Luchen when he was a child, Xiao Yuanhao had automatically forgotten it in his heart. The brother-in-law in front of him was as handsome as an immortal, and he was worthy of his sister. "Well, let's go to greet grandma," Xiao Wanru said helplessly, looking at her silly brother, who was full of energy and whose eyes were shining because of Chu Liuchen's scolding. "Go ahead. I'll rest here for a while and won't go with you." Chu Luchen waved his hand and said very lazily. The scenery here was good, the terrain was good, and the view on the rockery was very open. It was indeed a good place. It was not convenient for Chu Luchen to show up at this time, so it was good to stay here. "Then I'll take Hao there first and come back later," Xiao Wanru said. "Okay." Chu Luchen nodded with a smile. The sister and brother left the pavilion, went down the rockery and went to the courtyard where Rui, the great elder princess, lived. As soon as they arrived at the door of the main room, they heard the voice inside. Xiao Wanru raised the corners of her mouth silently and showed a trace of sarcasm. Sure enough, she had been ignored for a while. Now she rushed over as soon as she had a chance. It was the girl named Ain Yang inside the door. Hearing the servant girl's report, Nanny Gao hurriedly went to the door and lifted the curtain. Great Elder Princess is talking about Princess Chen and the little heir. Grandma, is there someone in the room? Xiao Wanru stopped and asked in a low voice. It's not an outsider. It happens to be at this time. Nanny Gao explained softly. It's not a good idea for to be here. Xiao Wanru hesitated for a moment and looked at Xiao Yuanhao beside her. Zhuozhuo, come in. If it's someone you can't see, let's meet together. Rui and Great Elder Princess heard it from inside and said loudly. Since Rui and Great Elder Princess said so, the two of them stopped talking. Xiao Wanru and Xiao Yuanhao entered the room together. Seeing Rui and Great Elder Princess sitting in the middle, they stepped forward and bowed to her. Zhuozhuo greets Grandma. Greets Grandma. Zhuozhuo, why are you here? It's really rare for you to come here with Let me have a look at you. Are you feeling better? Rui and Great Elder Princess reached out to pull them both over and let them sit in the chairs beside her. Then she looked at Xiao Wanru. Although she knew that Xiao Wanru would come here today, she was still not at ease, for fear that something bad would happen. She also knew that Xiao Wanru went to Marquis Xing's mansion and came back feeling unwell. As for the specific reason, Xiao Wanru didn't tell her, only saying that she suddenly felt very uncomfortable. This was the first time that Xiao Wanru came out since she came back from Marquis Xing's mansion. Rui and Great Elder Princess was very worried that Xiao Wanru would smell something uncomfortable again, so there was not even a flower in the room. Grandma, don't worry. I'm fine. I haven't come to see you for a long time, so I came here specially. When I came in, I met so we came here together. Xiao Wanru said with a smile. Hao had a rest today and happened to be at home. I wanted him to sleep a little longer, but he got up. Rui and Great Elder Princess looked at the pair of little children, and the more she looked at them, the more satisfied she was, and the more she smiled. Xiao Yuanhao was now studying in the Imperial College and was not in the mansion on weekdays. Grandma, it's getting late. Brother-in-law said that I should get up to practice martial arts even if I don't study. Xiao Wanru shook her arms and said. He hadn't grown up yet. He was not tall and very thin, but he looked very energetic. Chu Luchen specially hired a martial arts master for him. He would practice martial arts after coming back from school on weekdays, and he would also get up early to practice during the holidays. Xiao Yuanhao liked practicing martial arts very much. Compared with those weak classmates, Xiao Yuanhao felt that he was much stronger. When several classmates fought together, he had never suffered losses, which made Xiao Yuanhao, who had been well protected by Rui and Great Elder Princess, feel very proud. Of course, he would listen to his brother-in-law. If others did not offend him, he would not make trouble. If one asked who Xiao Yuanhao admired most at the moment, there was no one except his brother-in-law, Chu Luchen. Grandma, why is she here? Xiao Wanru glanced at Yi and Yang, who was standing aside, and said lightly. Greetings, Princess Chen, greetings, Your Highness. Seeing that Xiao Wanru had noticed her, Yin Yang immediately stepped forward and bowed to her with an excited look. When she saw Xiao Yuanhao, her eyes turned red. Your Highness has grown up. If the Infanta can see Your Highness, she will be pleased. As she spoke, she wiped the corner of her eyes with a handkerchief and forced a smile on her face. She stretched out her hand and lightly slapped her cheek. It's all this servant's fault. This servant was too happy to see the little heir and said something inappropriate. I really deserve to be hit. The little heir really looks like the little heir. It's as if they were carved from the same mold. As Yi Nyang said those pleasing words, the joy in her eyes almost overflowed. She looked very sincere. Xiao Wanru sneered in her heart. She was indeed made from the same mold as Xiao Jing. Her pleasing and kind look could really make people have a good impression on her. She specially came here today to meet Yi Nyang. Chapter 1154. Why are you here? Xiao Wanru looked Anyang up and down and said impolitely. Don't talk like a child. Where can she be if not here? Thanks to her, your mother was saved. Even if she is a maid, she is a loyal servant. Rui and Great Elder Princess reprimanded Xiao Wanru in a low voice. Although she was reprimanding, it could be seen that she didn't use much force. She really loved her granddaughter and didn't want her to suffer any grievances. It was said that Prince Chen valued Princess Chen, and it might be mostly because of Rui and Great Elder Princess. After all, everyone could see the princess's love for her granddaughter. Grandma. I think it's over, Xiao Wanru said with a calm look. Although it's over, it's not over yet. Rui and Great Elder Princess said with her face darkening, I won't let your mother suffer such grievances. Grandma, it has been a long time. In fact, some things can't be investigated. How can you completely believe what she said? Seeing that Rui and Great Elder Princess insisted on doing this, Xiao Wanru became anxious. Well, don't say it. It has nothing to do with you, and it won't involve you. Just be Princess Chen. Rui and Great Elder Princess was unhappy, but even so, she just said something with a little grievance and didn't use her identity as grandma to suppress Xiao Wanru. Anyang, who was listening on the side, was flustered. Once again, she sighed with emotion that Rui and Great Elder Princess doted on Princess Chen. The two of them had different opinions, but Rui and Great Elder Princess didn't reprimand her. She just said a few specious words lightly. If she had known that Princess Chen only wanted to live a comfortable life and didn't want to avenge her mother, she should have come directly to Rui and Great Elder Princess. Compared with Rui and Great Elder Princess, Princess Chen was really not powerful. It seemed that she didn't have any ideas. After going back, she would report to Master Ho about Princess Chen's attitude. Princess Chen was really nothing to be afraid of. Master Ho had misjudged her before. He actually thought that Princess Chen was the breakthrough. Later, she was forced to find Rui and Great Elder Princess. He slightly lowered his head, concealing the smugness in his eyes. With a look of fear and trepidation, he stood at the side with trembling hands, not daring to say a word. Grandma, sister, what are you talking about? What mother? Xiao Yuanhao looked at Rui and Great Elder Princess and then at Xiao Wanru with a puzzled look. He was just a kid. No one would tell him about this kind of thing. Anyang suddenly thought of something. She stole a glance at Xiao Yuanhao, who had no idea what was going on. This was actually a very good entry point. How, this has nothing to do with you. You can leave now. I have something to discuss with your sister. Rui and Great Elder Princess seemed to find that Xiao Yuanhao was also here. It was inconvenient for them to talk, so she said to Xiao Yuanhao with a smile. Sister. Xiao Yuanhao turned to Xiao Wanru. Go ahead. I do have something important to talk with Grandma. You can go out now. It's rare for you to have a rest. You can take a walk in the garden. Your brother-in-law asked me to bring you some things. They are in the open space beside the peach blossom forest in the garden. They are all interesting to you. Xiao Wanru also said with a soft smile. Like Rui and Great Elder Princess, she wanted Xiao Yuanhao to leave. Seeing that his grandmother and sister were trying to drive him away, Xiao Yuanhao stood up helplessly and said, Grandmother, sister, I'll go back first. Sister, don't leave yet. I have something good for you too. Okay, I won't leave later. I will definitely come to see how, Xiao Wanru promised with a smile. Seeing that Xiao Wanru agreed readily, Xiao Yuanhao left. After Xiao Yuanhao left, the room became quiet again. Nanny Gao looked at Rui and Great Elder Princess, whose face darkened, and then looked at Xiao Wanru, who looked weak but obviously a little stubborn. For a moment, she didn't know how to persuade her and could only sigh helplessly. Seeing this, Anyang became more and more sure of what to do. It was obvious that it was not the first time that Rui and Great Elder Princess and Princess Chen had different opinions on this matter after she met Princess Chen last time. She narrowed her eyes slightly and carefully put away her thoughts. Master Ho said that Princess Chen was a thoughtful person and she should deal with her carefully. From the previous contact, Anyang also found that Xiao Wanru was not easy to deal with. At least compared with Rui and Great Elder Princess, Princess Chen was more cautious and less trusting. Even though she was her biological mother's loyal servant, Princess Chen did not let down her guard. Compared with the other options, Anyang thought that she had better avoid Princess Chen. She strung up all the options in her heart. Princess Chen was the most difficult to fool, followed by Rui and Great Elder Princess. Of course, the best one was the little heir. Judging from Rui and Great Elder Princess and Princess Chen's attitude towards the little heir, it could be seen that they protected the little heir very well. This kind of protection had both advantages and disadvantages. Of course, the advantage was that it was not easy to be framed, but the disadvantage was that it was easy to be confused and difficult to take responsibility. She was too inexperienced and didn't understand the twists and turns in this matter. Anyang. A cold voice in her ear immediately made Anyang's heart tremble. She hurriedly raised her head and didn't dare to be distracted anymore. I'm here. Since you are my mother's maid, I don't know how my mother saved your life at that time and how you came to my mother. There are many servants around my mother and she doesn't lack a maid like you. Xiao Wanru's eyes fell on Anyang and she said fiercely. This was the reason why Anyang wanted to avenge Infanta Qinghua at that time. Report to Great Elder Princess and Princess Chen. Anyang calmed down. Since she had brought it up, she had been prepared. My parents died and I was an orphan. I was raised in my uncle's house. My aunt was vicious and wanted to sell me to a brothel when she saw that I was good-looking. After knowing that, I escaped in the middle of the night and accidentally fell into the river. Infanta happened to pass by and asked someone to save me. I swore to serve you to the death, so I stayed with Infanta. Speaking of this, Anyang said gratefully, if it weren't for Infanta, I wouldn't have been alive. My life belongs to Infanta. I swear to avenge Infanta. Xiao Wanru's attention had been on Anyang. Seeing that she was calm and confident, she silently raised the corners of her mouth. As expected, she was well prepared. It seemed that what she said was true. This kind of explanation could be put anywhere. Even if her mother originally didn't want such a servant girl and was moved by her persistence, she accepted such a person by her side. However, she didn't expect that this servant girl was not a loyal servant girl, but a poisonous snake that devoured people. She felt as cold as ice and as sharp as a cold blade in her heart. It couldn't be said in this way just now. Xiao Wanru had plotted against her mother a long time ago, so she sent such a maid to her mother's side. It was also because of this woman that Xiao Jing knew the whereabouts of her father and mother. Otherwise, how could Xiao Jing secretly leave the capital city and find his parents when Duke Xing's mansion failed to find them after making great efforts? She clenched the handkerchief tightly and then slowly loosened it with a gloomy look in her eyes. This woman was Xiao Jing's accomplice, and she had been prepared for a long time. Perhaps this woman was not just an ordinary chess piece that had been planted long ago. Xiao Wanru could be sure that even if her mother sent someone to investigate her at that time, it would still be a fact. An ordinary orphan girl couldn't do this. She looked at Qing, who was beside her, and then slowly turned her head, as if thinking about something. Qing, was also an orphan. She had once told her some things about her previous missions. Anyang, Zhuozhuo still wants you to live a good life and not get involved in the affairs of Marquis Xing's mansion. After all, you are the only person left by my son. At least Zhuozhuo and I will take care of you. If you want to leave Xiaojing and live a new life with your daughter, it will be very easy. Rui and Great Elder Princess said. Great Elder Princess, I must avenge the Infanta. If Great Elder Princess and Prince Chen don't allow me to do this, I would rather die here now, so that I won't suffer day by day and miss my late master every night for so many years. Anyang cried again. She wiped her tears with a handkerchief and looked excited. What about your daughter? Xiao Wanru asked. My daughter is the Marquis's daughter. Even if something happens to me, the Marquis will take care of her. At the very least, she is the Marquis's daughter, so she won't live a worse life than me. Even if I'm gone, it doesn't matter, Anyang said with tears in her eyes and lowered her head to wipe her tears. She looked a little less excited than before. Xiao Wanru glanced at her thoughtfully. Her long eyelashes fluttered and she didn't say anything. Rui, and great elder princess sighed and said with a gentle look, since you said so, I got it. It's not urgent. I'll discuss it with Princess Chen and see what kind of identity to give you. We can't let you just follow Marquis Xing into the mansion and become a nameless concubine. When you fight against the Jiang family, you have no chance to win at all. Thank you, great elder princess. Thank you, Prince Chen. Anyang said gratefully and finally felt relieved in her heart. The Marquis had repeatedly told her that if she couldn't pass the test of Prince Chen, she would definitely fail. Rui, and great elder princess asked her again in front of Princess Chen, which should be to let Princess Chen understand her thoughts. Now Princess Chen didn't say anything, so it could be seen that she agreed to it. It was finally done. An imperceptible smile flashed across her eyes, and she seemed to be relaxed. Next, the Jiang family would die. The Marquis promised to give her the position of Madam of Marquis Xing. If the Jiang family was still alive, she would never have a chance. She didn't expect that an orphan girl like her could get such an identity. Anyang almost couldn't control the joy in her heart. At this point, it had nothing to do with Anyang. Rui, and great elder princess asked a little servant girl to take Anyang away. After they disappeared in the room, Rui, and great elder princess's face darkened and she said gloomily, Zhuozhua, how should we deal with this bitch who betrayed her master? Chapter 1155. The road to great elder princess's mansion was winding. The little servant girl who led the way looked about 11 or 12 years old. She had a sweet smile and was also a very likable servant girl. Along the way, she answered whatever Yi and Yang asked her. She didn't look down on others like the servant girls of great elder princess's mansion at all. She had a very good temper. After passing a corner, Yang looked up at the garden in front of her. She suddenly stopped and asked in surprise, is that the upper garden of great elder princess's mansion? Yes, we can reach the garden from here. The garden in the mansion is very beautiful. At this time, the flowers and trees are in full bloom. It's the best time. The little servant girl also stopped and said with a smile. Can I go and have a look? Yi and Yang reached out and pointed with an envious face. It seemed that she was a little embarrassed because of her proposal. After saying that, she blushed. Well. Okay. The little servant girl only hesitated for a moment and then agreed. Since great elder princess called her over, there must be a reason. It was not a big deal to just walk around. Let's go through the garden, take a long way around, and then turn back to the gate of the mansion, okay? Thank you. Yi and Yang nodded repeatedly. She took out a purse from her sleeve and handed it over. The little servant girl took it, turned into the previous corner with a smile, and walked into the garden of great elder princess's mansion. Rui, and great elder princess had lived in the princess's mansion for many years. The decoration inside was gorgeous and colorful. There were many flowers and trees. From time to time, they could see the carefully planted flowers leaning on the branches, which made people feel happy. Yi and Yang praised the little servant girl while looking at it and asked the reason from time to time. The little servant girl was smart. Although she didn't know everything, she knew most of it. Her words were clear and logical. The more they talked, the better their relationship became. Along the way, they were so intimate as if they were a mother and a daughter. Xiao Huan, I heard that the peach blossom forest in great elder princess's mansion is very good. Can I go and have a look? Yi and Yang had already found out the name of the little servant girl and asked affectionately. Sure, but most of them have withered by now. Xiao Huan smiled. She turned a corner and headed towards the peach blossom forest. Before he reached the peach blossom forest, he could see a patch in the distance. Indeed, Many of the flowers had withered, but there were still some on the branches. It looked like a sea of pink flowers. It was not bright, but compared to the surrounding water and mountain scenery, it was more delicate and beautiful. When he got closer, he saw some scattered petals on the ground. As the branches swayed, some of the petals also fell down. The peach blossoms in the princess residence are considered to be late. The peach blossoms in other places have already withered, Xiao Huan said with a look of pity. Yi Nyang looked at the forest. The area was not small and she could not see the other side from here. The little heir should be on the other side. She rolled her eyes and suddenly squatted down with an "Io." What's wrong? Xiao Huan looked over and asked. I seem to have sprained my ankle. Yi Nyang stood up with the support of a branch on one side and moved her right foot. She frowned tightly and looked at the little servant girl in embarrassment. She said, Xiao Huan, can I trouble you to find if there is any medicine for spraining my ankle? There is still a long way to go out of the mansion. I'm afraid I can't walk all the way. Well, then you wait here. Don't run around, or I won't be able to find you later. Xiao Huan looked at her and felt that she was indeed unable to walk, so she reminded her helplessly. The mansion of Rui, and great elder princess, was very large. If she got lost, the little servant girl would not be able to come back. I'm sure I'll be able to find him. Out of worry, Zhang Xian reminded her. Okay, I will. Go ahead. I'll wait for you here. Yi Nyang looked around and saw a stone bench on the side of the road. She pointed there and said. Then I'll go to find the ointment. Don't go away. Xiao Huan nodded and said. Then she left. After Xiao Huan left, Yi Nyang looked around. It was not the season to appreciate peach blossoms, and there were no people at this time. She thought for a while and turned to the right. It should be in this peach blossom forest. Since there was no peach blossom on this side, she would look for it from one side to another. Yi Nyang went to the right side first and then turned to the right side of the forest. This time, she didn't go far before she heard someone talking. After listening carefully, she found it was Xiao Yuanhao's voice. She was overjoyed and hurried to that place. Xiao Yuanhao was holding a sword and waving it in front of him. Two servants were serving him. There was a big box in front of him, which should be the gift that Princess Chen mentioned. He waved the sword for a while and put it down. Then he took out a bow from the box and tried it hard. He said to the servant beside him, Try it. Your Highness, I can't do it. I've never used this. A servant walked out with a bitter face and reached out to take the bow. But he stepped back a few steps because of the weight of the bow. Your Highness, why is this bow so heavy? It's heavy. Maybe my brother-in-law thinks that I should practice my arm strength. Xiao Yuanhao raised his arm and tried to show that he was strong. Your Highness, be careful. Don't hurt yourself. A woman's voice suddenly came from behind them. Yi Nyang ran over in a hurry and reached out to take the bow in the servant's hand. It seemed that she was afraid that the bow would hurt Xiao Yuanhao. The bow fell into Yi Nyang's hand. Yi Nyang took 2 steps back and fell heavily on the ground. She cried out in pain, Ouch! Xiao Yuanhao and the servant were both startled. Their eyes fell on Yi Nyang, who suddenly appeared. After looking her up and down, Xiao Yuanhao didn't recognize her. Who are you? Why did you suddenly run out? Looking at the place where she ran out, the 2 servants' faces suddenly changed. They hurriedly stood in front of Xiao Yuanhao. One of them even picked up the sword that Xiao Yuanhao put aside and said sharply, Who are you? Where did you send the assassin? The assassin. The other servant was a little timid. After saying this, he raised his neck and the blue veins on his neck stood out. It seemed that he was going to shout the next sentence. I'm not an assassin. I'm Infanta Qinghua's servant girl. Your Highness, didn't you see me in Great Elder Princess's place just now? Yi Nyang hurriedly explained in fear that the timid servant would ruin her plan. She waved her hands and the bow fell on the ground. Xiao Yuanhao's eyes fell on Yi Yang. He looked her up and down and said, "It seems so." "Yes, I am." Yi Yang breathed a sigh of relief and said hurriedly, "What are you doing here? Did my grandmother ask you to come here?" Xiao Yuanhao said impatiently. He waved his hand and the two servants left. Since she was not an assassin, the servant would not stand in front of him like before. "Rui and great elder princess and Princess Chen asked me to come back. When I walked here, I twisted my ankle. I was resting here and happened to hear your servant talking. I didn't see it clearly. I rushed out because I heard that the bow is very heavy and I was afraid that your highness would accidentally press it." Yi Nyang said with fear and pointed at the bow placed by her feet. She only took 2 steps back. Xiao Yuanhao, who had taken the bow before, knew that even he would take more than 2 steps back if he accidentally got it. Just now, the servant almost fell on the ground. He had deliberately pulled him to prevent him from making a fool of himself on the spot. The servant who held the bow just now was a little older. He was 14 years old and had good arm strength, not to mention the woman in front of him. Although she fell on the ground at the last moment and seemed to be unable to hold the bow, Xiao Yuanhao saw it clearly. She did it on purpose. She took 2 steps very well. This woman was really not simple. "Thank you. You can go back now," Xiao Yuanhao said carelessly. He reached out to take a few arrows from the box on the ground and played with them with interest. The arrows were well made and the arrowhead was sharp. How could such a thing be used as a child's toy? Yi Yang couldn't help but feel speechless about Prince Chen. This kind of thing was obviously a sharp weapon. Was it something a child could play with? "Little heir, be careful. You'd better return these things to Prince Chen. You are still young. There will be plenty of opportunities to play with them in the future." Yi Nyang advised him with concern. "I'll be fine. I just want to take a look," Xiao Yuanhao said carelessly. He looked at them for a few more times and suddenly thought of something. He looked at Yi Yang and said, "You said they were my mother's servant girls. My mother's servant girls are all gone, aren't they? Why are you still here? Why are you looking for my grandmother today?" Words one after another, he was a little disorganized. As an inexperienced child, he asked questions so casually. He didn't think that great elder princess and Princess Chen asked him to leave because they didn't want him to know about this. Yi Yang had wanted to attract this heir's interest. Hearing what he said, she was overjoyed. It would be best if he could do everything quietly. Originally, she came to see Xiao Yuanhao. If Xiao Yuanhao didn't ask anything, how could she continue to act? I. Speaking of this, she looked at the 2 servants on both sides. Although the 2 servants no longer suspected that she was an assassin, they still looked at her with vigilance. "Stay away from me." Xiao Yuanhao waved his hand. "Heir." The younger servant felt wronged and wanted to say something. But seeing Xiao Yuanhao stare at him, he had no choice but to step back with the other servant for more than a dozen steps. They stood still far away from them. "Now you can tell me what happened. Why did you want to avenge my mother?" "My mother went there because she was in poor health." "Is there any other reason?" Xiao Yuanhao put down the arrow in his hand and looked up at Yi Yang. Although she was still a young child, she was quite dignified. "Heir, your mother was deliberately angered to death by Madame of Marquis Xing's mansion, Madame Jiang. At that time, the Infanta had just given birth to you and was depressed because of what happened to the former heir. Madame Jiang deliberately chose this time to anger your mother from time to time, saying that the former heir was killed by your mother. Your mother was weak at that time and couldn't bear it, so, Yi Yang wiped her tears with a handkerchief. She was very sad. What you said is true. Xiao Yuanhao's eyes also turned red. He gritted his teeth hard and said angrily. Of course it's true. That's what I told Rui and Great Elder Princess and Princess Chen just now. If you don't believe me, you can go to Rui and Great Elder Princess or Princess Chen to inquire about it. But don't tell them that I said it. Yi and Yang also said sincerely with red eyes. Chapter 1156. No, I have to go to my grandmother. Xiao Yuanhao turned around and was about to leave. Little child, wait a minute. Yi and Yang grabbed Xiao Yuanhao's sleeve and said, I still have something to say. What do you want to say? Say it. Xiao Yuanhao said angrily. Little child, even if you rush over and ask her, so what? Do you want to deal with Madame Jiang? Even if she has done something wrong, she is still your second aunt. Yi Nyang tried to persuade him. Of course, she could not let Xiao Yuanhao rush out recklessly. At that time, Rui and Great Elder Princess and Princess Chen would not spare her. Then what do you say? Xiao Yuanhao was obedient. He stamped his feet and said, the hatred of my parents is absolutely irreconcilable. I can't let her go like this. Little child, that's what I said. Don't worry. After I enter Marquis Xing's mansion, I will definitely avenge for you. I also have the same idea, so I asked Rui and Great Elder Princess and Princess Chen for help. After I enter Marquis Xing's mansion, I can avenge for you. Yi Nyang persuaded him. You want to avenge my mother? Why? Xiao Yuanhao was not so gullible. He looked her up and down. My life was saved by your highness. Even if I have to pay for it, I will avenge your highness. Yi Yang took a deep breath and said in a low voice. Thank you. Xiao Yuanhao looked at Yi Yang, suddenly stepped back and bowed to her. Little child, you can't. I am just a servant girl. It is my duty to do such a thing. She hurriedly turned her body and limped to one side. It seemed that she was really injured just now. Take a rest. I will ask someone to fetch the ointment. Seeing that she was a little inconvenient to move, Xiao Yuanhao said and asked a servant beside him to fetch the ointment for the wound. One servant left, and the other one stayed and watched from a distance. Thank you, Your Highness. I have to go back. In the future, can I come to you if I need something? Great Elder Princess is too powerful, so I dare not disturb her often. Can you tell Great Elder Princess through you? Yi Yang looked at Xiao Yuanhao and asked. What she said made sense. Her maternal grandmother was of noble status. How could she be seen by just anyone? You can come to the directorate to find me. Xiao Yuanhao said after thinking for a while. Thank you, little heir, thank you, little heir. With little heir's words, I can rest assured. I'm just afraid that when Jiang Shi does something, the news will not reach Great Elder Princess's ears for a while and spoil the plan. Yi Nyang said repeatedly. She bowed sideways and then shed tears of joy. Seeing that it was about time, she said, Little heir, this servant will take her leave first. There was a maid waiting for me earlier. How is your foot? Xiao Yuanhao asked. It's no big deal. Don't worry, little heir. Since she had achieved her goal, she did not dare to stay any longer. She was afraid that someone would see it and report it to Great Elder Princess or Princess Chen. With Xiao Yuanhao's words, she could get in touch with him easily in the future. Moreover, it was not in Rui and Great Elder Princess's mansion, so it was much more convenient. Seeing that she insisted on leaving, Xiao Yuanhao did not keep her. He nodded and watched her limp into the peach forest in a hurry and leave in another direction. When Yi Yang disappeared, Xiao Yuanhao said to the servant who stayed behind, Send all the things to my yard later. After saying that, he left the servant and walked forward. The servant looked at him worriedly, and then looked up at the pavilion on the rockery that was higher than the yard in the distance. Then he answered. Since Prince Chen was there, the heir of Duke Xing must have gone to find Prince Chen. There would be no safety problem. Xiao Yuanhao really went to find Chu Luchen. When he went to the pavilion, he saw Chu Luchen still leaning against the fence with an uncontrollable anger on his face. Chu Luchen smiled. Seeing him coming over angrily, he slightly raised the corner of his mouth and said, "Is it done?" "It should be done. Brother-in-law, this woman is really not a good person," Xiao Yuanhao said angrily. He walked to Chu Luchen and sat down, saying with hatred, "It's not a day or two that Marquis Xing wants your father's title of nobility." Chu Liuchen's eyes were dark and cold. He reached out and patted Xiao Yuanhao's shoulder. "Your sister only has you as her younger brother. Don't let her down. Now her only blood relative is you. When we were in Jiangzhou, no one cared about your sister. Now she wants to give all her love to you." Xiao Yuanhao's eyes turned red. He lowered his head and said, "Brother-in-law, I know." Compared with his second uncle and second aunt who he could hardly remember, his sister and grandmother were his family. As he grew older, he gradually understood what it meant to be beaten to death. However, when he recalled the past, he couldn't help feeling that at least they had raised him up. Although the debt of raising them was very small, they still remembered that he was also a member of the Xiao family. "Your father and your mother were the victims of the fight for the title of nobility. You and your sister became orphans and even wandered in other places. It's also because of this that you and your sister can't be reunited. If you still care about the little debt of raising you up, you might as well return the title to them, lest they plot against you and your sister and let your grandmother fall into the abyss of pain. She just lost a daughter at that time, but now she will lose her grandson and granddaughter." Chu Liuchen's eyes fell on Xiao Yuanhao. Although his voice was lazy, it was frighteningly cold and dignified. "If you can't distinguish who is your closest relative, give up what originally belongs to you. In this way, you may be able to save your life." Chu Luchen told Xiao Yuanhao clearly that he didn't regard him as a pure child at this moment. He couldn't let Xiao Wanru be implicated by Xiao Yuanhao, even if he was her biological brother. Since this matter had been exposed, Chu Luchen thought it was the best to expose it to the end, so that all the filth could be exposed in front of Xiao Yuanhao. "Brother-in-law, don't worry. I know who is my family." Xiao Yuanhao's heart was hit hard by the meaning in Chu Liuchen's words. It was very painful, but he reacted and gritted his teeth, saying, "I'm grandma and sister's reliance and the only man in this mansion. I have to protect them. As a man, he should protect the people he cared about." Xiao Yuanhao understood this. In the past 3 years, it seemed that Rui, and great elder princess, had protected him very well on the surface and didn't allow him to get involved in anything. But in fact, he had learned from Chu Luchen secretly for 3 years. He had already changed from a young boy who knew nothing to a sensible person. He was absolutely not the ignorant child on the surface. When Xiao Wanru and Chu Luchen left, Xiao Yuanhao sent them to the carriage. "How, go back and be filial to grandma." Xiao Wanru turned around and told Xiao Yuanhao. Xiao Yuanhao, who had not grown up yet, was a little shorter than her. "Sister, don't worry. I got it." Xiao Yuanhao looked like an innocent and naive child and pulled Xiao Wanru's sleeve. Xiao Wanru lowered her head slightly. "Sister, I'll ask someone to tell you the next time that woman comes over." Xiao Yuanhao lowered his voice and said, looking very pure and kind. Xiao Wanru inexplicably saw some familiarity on his face. She looked sideways at Chu Luchen, who was smiling with his hands clasped behind his back, and thought that he did look pure and gentle. She couldn't help laughing and said, "How, you've grown up." She was just joking, but when she said it, her eyes turned red inexplicably. She hurriedly showed a smile to cover it up and turned around to help Chu Luchen get out of the carriage. She was afraid that she couldn't help crying if she stayed here. In the last life, she didn't know where this child went or had no chance to grow up at all. Now seeing him standing in front of her, she felt that it was a lifetime ago. Many things had changed in this life. She was no longer the miserable and humble girl in the last life. Chu Luchen got into the carriage. After coming in, he looked at Xiao Wanru, who was leaning against him with her eyes slightly red. He reached out to hold her in his arms naturally and patted her gently. Leaning in Chu Liuchen's arms, Xiao Wanru didn't say anything. She only felt that her heart was no longer so empty. In this life, she was not only alone, but also had someone to rely on. Her eyelashes fluttered twice and slowly fell down. The uneven shadow of peace under her eyes made her snow-white face look more gentle. The corners of her red lips were slightly raised. The carriage went all the way to Prince Chen's mansion. Xiao Wanru was carried out of the carriage by Chu Luchen in a daze. When she woke up, it was already 4 hours later. She had a good sleep without even a dream. It seemed that she had stirred up the last blood color of her last life from time to time and became relaxed. Your Highness, you're awake. Yu Jie stepped forward and lifted the gauze curtain with a smile. Where is His Highness? Xiao Wanru took a cup of warm water from Chu Lu, took a sip, and said. His Highness just left. He told you to have a good rest and not to work too hard, Yu Jie said. Xiao Wanru got up. After washing up, she saw a fruit plate on the table. She became a little curious and asked, where did this fruit come from? Why haven't I seen it before? It looked like an apple, but it was smaller than an ordinary apple and plump. At first glance, it could be seen that it was not the kind of unripe apple that had been picked. This is a gift from concubine Lan in the imperial palace. It is said that it is a specialty of the Su country. She didn't bring many of them, and there are few concubines in the imperial palace who have them. However, concubine Lan gave me this basin of fruit as a gift. Yu Jie said with a smile. It turned out to be concubine Lan. It seemed to be expected, but also seemed to be unexpected. The matter about the Empress seemed to have calmed down now, and concubine Lan also appeared in front of everyone. Without the previous restriction, concubine Lan walked to the front of the stage, but she still lived in seclusion and didn't meet others. The Empress Dowager was ill. For the sake of tranquility, she didn't allow the S to greet her. The Empress kept a low profile and also said that she was not feeling well, so she didn't allow the S to greet her. Although everyone was very curious about concubine Lan, few people had seen her. It was said that concubine Da and concubine Ming in the imperial palace were also stopped when they went to concubine Lan's double-breath hall. They only said that concubine Lan was not feeling well and couldn't meet guests. Chapter 1157. Does Prince know about it? Xiao Wanru asked. Prince already knows about it. He said that it doesn't taste very good and wants you to have a taste. Chu Lu said with a smile, Your Highness, do you want to try one? Xiao Wanru looked at these fruits and shook her head, forget it. I don't want to use them now. Is there anything else? Concubine Lan said that if you have nothing to do, you can go to the palace to accompany her and it's better to take Miss Qin with you, Chu Lu reported. Qin Yiyan had been in Prince Chen's mansion for a few days. In the past few days, she had been very quiet, as if the person in the double-breath palace was not her. She neither came to Xiao Wanru nor went to Chu Liuchen's place. It was said that she not only didn't go to Chu Liuchen's place but also kept a distance from Chu Luchen, as if she wanted to avoid arousing suspicion. Miss Qin, what's the matter recently? Xiao Wanru blinked and asked. If Qin Yiyan had been so quiet, she would be willing to treat her as a real cousin. She had asked someone to tell Qin Yiyan that she didn't have to come to pay her respects when she was not feeling well. Miss Qin is fine. She still does embroidery and occasionally appreciates the scenery in the garden. Even if she accidentally bumps into Prince Chen, she just salutes him from a distance. She is very polite. Go and invite Miss Qin here. Xiao Wanru thought for a while and said. Since concubine Lan mentioned Qin Yiyan, she would not hide it. Yu Jie nodded and went out. After a while, she came back with Qin Yiyan. Greetings, cousin-in-law. Qin Yiyan entered the door and bowed to Xiao Wanru. Miss Qin, you're too polite. Please sit down. Xiao Wanru smiled and asked Chu Lu to invite Qin Yiyan to sit down. Cousin-in-law, how are you? Qin Yiyan asked softly with her clear eyes. I'm almost recovered. Just now, concubine Lan sent me a message and asked me to take you to the palace to see her. When are you free? Xiao Wanru went straight to the point. Qin Yan raised her head and looked a little surprised. After thinking for a while, she said with a smile, I have nothing to do in Prince Chen's mansion. If you feel free, I will be free. I'll listen to your orders. Qin Yan was very gentle and her smile was very gentle. In this case, when I go to the Imperial Palace to visit the Empress Dowager in a few days, I will take you to the Imperial Palace to accompany concubine Lan. Xiao Wanru thought for a while and made up her mind. Cousin-in-law isn't going. Concubine Lan should be very happy to see my cousin-in-law, right? It's not convenient for cousin to go to the Imperial Palace to see concubine Lan, but it's just right for you to go there. Xiao Yenru looked at Xiao Wanru and said in surprise. It was certain that concubine Lan was on Prince Chen's mansion's side. As Prince Chen's concubine, Xiao Wanru should naturally be on good terms with concubine Lan instead of acting as if it was just a convenience. I heard that concubine Lan likes peace. It's not appropriate for me to disturb you. Your Highness, you also think that I shouldn't disturb you at this time. The Empress Dowager is ill, and the Empress is also unwell. It's better to visit them when we enter the Imperial Palace. Xiao Wanru said implicitly with a slight smile. Of course, it meant that it was also Chu Liuchen's idea that she was not close to concubine Lan. Your Highness, don't you like to be close to concubine Lan? Xiao Yenru thought for a while and suddenly raised her eyes to ask. Her question was very abrupt. Even Xiao Wanru did not expect that Xiao Yenru would suddenly ask this question. Her watery eyes flickered, and there was a faint smile at the bottom of her eyes. Concubine Lan is the Emperor's concubine. It's not up to us to decide whether we are close to her or not. What's more, our prince is the Emperor's nephew after all. It's better to avoid some things. Doesn't the Emperor mean that cousin can also? Xiao Yenru said unconvinced. Xiao Wanru's face turned cold, and she directly interrupted her, Miss Qin, although this is Prince Chen's mansion, not the Imperial Palace, there are some things that you can't say. If you are careless and implicate concubine Lan, it won't be good. Miss Qin, you don't want anything to happen to concubine Lan, right? Cousin-in-law, I didn't mean that. I just said that the Emperor has already regarded cousin as a prince, didn't he? Xiao Yenru's words were stopped. She calmed down and wisely changed her words. From what she had seen in the past few days, she felt that her cousin-in-law was a smart person. She was not only a smart person but also a smart person with good judgment. She couldn't see the advantages of her cousin, and she shouldn't alienate concubine Lan at this time. For a moment, she couldn't figure out what Princess Chen meant. Miss Qin. Xiao Wanru's eyes fell on Xiao Yenru's face and she said with a faint look in her eyes, I don't care why you are in the capital city, but no matter what, you'd better be a low-key young lady. Recently, the princess of the Su Kingdom has also come, and I'm afraid that the capital city will not be peaceful. Miss Qin, please tell this to concubine Lan and tell her to be careful. Cousin-in-law. The look on Xiao Yenru's face changed, and she became a little angry and cold. Cousin-in-law, do you know, Miss Qin, I don't want to know, nor do I want to hear. If you think of yourself as Prince Chen's cousin, just live here quietly, don't think about anything, and don't ask about anything. If there is a chance in the future, I will definitely send you a wedding gift and let you get married in a grand way. Xiao Wanru said. She meant that she promised Prince Chen's mansion that she would find a good marriage for Xiao Yenru, but Chu Liuchen would never marry Xiao Yenru. Even though Xiao Yenru was concubine Lan's niece and used to be the empress, they had disappeared at this time. At this time, what she should do was to keep a low profile. Xiao Yenru's face turned red. She was angry and ashamed, and she said unwillingly, Cousin-in-law, does cousin know what you said? Of course, your highness knows. My meaning is your highness's meaning. If your highness has other intentions, won't my cousin specially come to see you after living here for so long? Xiao Wanru said bluntly. No matter what Xiao Yenru's intention was, she would not let Xiao Yenru ruin it. At least, she couldn't ruin it in Prince Chen's mansion. Xiao Yenru glared at Xiao Wanru. Although she called Xiao Wanru cousin-in-law, she was actually older than Xiao Wanru and slender than ordinary girls. In terms of height, she could suppress Xiao Wanru in an imposing manner. However, Xiao Wanru just looked at her leisurely with a slight smile and a casual smile, as if she didn't take her anger seriously at all. Finally, Xiao Yanru was defeated and said angrily, "Cousin-in-law, do you know what I have in my hand? No matter what you have, your highness won't care. Miss Qin, just do whatever you want." Xiao Wanru said calmly, as if she had expected that Xiao Yanru would say so. If Xiao Yanru had no trump card at all, she would not have entered Prince Chen's mansion. After all, Chu Luqian had never given face to concubine Lan, let alone a cousin from many years ago. "I'll go to my cousin later. He will be willing to see what I have in my hand," Xiao Yanru said unhappily. She was really unconvinced. It was not that she wanted to enter Prince Chen's mansion, but that she had to do so. In order to avoid making Xiao Wanru unhappy, she even deliberately stayed far away from her cousin. She didn't expect that Xiao Wanru was so arrogant that she even pushed her away for her own benefit. She had done so much in vain. "You can't go to His Highness's place at will. If you go there, I'll send someone to inform him in advance. It's not certain when His Highness will see you. If Miss Qin wants to bump into him, I won't be able to control what will happen at that time," Xiao Wanru said softly. Compared with Xiao Yanru, who was annoyed, she was so calm that there was no ripple in her heart, but it made people feel that she knew everything. Xiao Yanru's watery eyes under her long eyelashes looked soft, but there was an unknown sharpness in them. No matter what Qin Iran or concubine Lan meant, they would definitely take the initiative to say something when they were forced to do so. Xiao Yanru didn't seem to come here just for the position of Prince Chen's wife. She hoped that they would express their intentions clearly and didn't want something to be ruined because of their insincerity. She had never doubted the fact that concubine Lan was devoted to Chu Luqian. However, there were many things in this world that could be done with good intentions. It was the most beneficial way to force Xiao Yanru to reveal her trump card first. She believed that no matter what trump card they had, Chu Luqian would be able to deal with it well. Now the time was just right, so she would give them another push. Hearing Xiao Wanru's words, Xiao Yanru felt very aggrieved and uncomfortable. It seemed that she had hit Qin Iran hard but failed to knock Qin Iran down. Instead, she spat out a mouthful of blood. Her aunt had told her not to act rashly. "Then I'll have to trouble you, cousin-in-law," Xiao Yanru said coldly. She couldn't bear it anymore and had to make it clear to her cousin that she was his helper. If Xiao Wanru didn't let her be his helper, she wouldn't be a qualified Princess Chen. She didn't have to take a fancy to the position of Princess Chen, but if Xiao Wanru was really not suitable for her, she would be willing to take the position. With this idea in mind, Xiao Yanru returned to her courtyard, sat on the stone bench in her courtyard, and quietly waited for the news from Chu Luqian. Even if her cousin didn't like her, he would definitely send someone to invite her when he heard that she had something to see him. However, things went beyond her imagination. After waiting for a long time, she didn't see anyone come. When she was about to send someone over, she saw Xiao Xuanzi, the eunuch beside Chu Luqian, come in. "Miss Qin, our master invites you over," Xiao Xuanzi said with a smile. "Cousin, did you just find out? Princess Chen said that she would pass on the message for me to meet you." Xiao Yanru stood up discontentedly and pulled a thin crease at the corner of her skirt. "The princess naturally sent Miss Qin's words here early, but our master is very busy. At this time, he just took a rest for a while and remembered this matter, so he specially asked me to come here," Xiao Xuanzi said casually, and then turned his hand to the side. "Miss Qin, please come here. If you go late, our master might have something to do again, and I'm afraid he won't be able to talk to you." Of course, he meant that if she didn't go now, there was no need to go. Xiao Yanru's pink face turned livid with anger. What kind of people were around her cousin? They were all so insensible. She had to ask her cousin to take care of the people around him. Chapter 1158. Master, Miss Qin is still outside. Xiao Xuanzi looked out of the window downstairs. Qin Yan continued to stand still under the tree and stared at the two guards at the door. She had been standing there for so long, but she still didn't leave. Chu Luqian sat there casually, raised his head unhappily, and said coldly, "Let her come up." "Yes, I'll invite Miss Qin up right away." Xiao Xuanzi breathed a sigh of relief and hurried to the second floor. This Miss Qin was really stubborn. He said that his master was busy, but she insisted on seeing her. Now he finally saw her. Xiao Xuanzi was sure that even if he saw her, she would not be happy. His master could only tolerate a woman like the princess. Hearing that Chu Luqian let her in, Qin Yan breathed a sigh of relief. She was really worried that Chu Luqian would not see her. Since he saw her, everything would be easy. The servant girl was asked to stay, and Qin Yan followed Xiao Xuanzi to the second floor. When the door of the second floor was opened, Qin Yan subconsciously narrowed her eyes and saw the man leaning on the back of the wide chair inside. The handsome man raised his eyes, as if he had a lot of feelings, but his words were extremely cold. "If there's nothing, don't bother me." "Cousin." Qin Yan stepped forward to greet him. Cousin, whatever it is the reason for you to live in my mansion. Now that you have moved in, there's no need to talk about this matter." Chu Luqian lowered his beautiful eyes, still looking at the booklet in his hand. "Cousin, I'm really your cousin." Qin Yan was a little anxious. Although she had been prepared before, concubine Lan had repeatedly told her that Prince Qin was not what she saw, so that she could not have delusions. Otherwise, she would die without a burial place. So what? Chu Luqian raised his eyebrows. Qin Yan didn't know what to say for a moment. Prince Qin in front of her was definitely more difficult to serve than Princess Qin. She had wanted to complain before, but now she had no intention of doing so. She could tell from Prince Chen's expression that he would not listen to her words. "Cousin, concubine Lan asked me to come." Qin Yan said frustratedly. "This is not the imperial palace, but my Prince Chen's mansion." Chu Luqian said coldly. Qin Yan was stunned. She really didn't expect that concubine Lan had no deterrence to Prince Chen at all. "Cousin, concubine Lan cares about you wholeheartedly. Everything she has done is for you. How could you?" Inexplicably, Qin Yifang became agitated as she felt depressed. But in the next moment, the emotion was stirred. As if someone had splashed water on it, it immediately melted. "If you have something to say, then say it. If there's nothing else, then leave. This king is very busy." Chu Luqian looked up at her impatiently, and then his eyes fell on the file in front of him, as if she stood here alone to trouble him. She was sent by concubine Lan. Qin Yan felt very aggrieved. Even though she thought that she was strong-willed, she couldn't help feeling aggrieved at this time. She really wanted to help him, not only because of concubine Lan, but also because of her family. How could Prince Chen ignore her like this? 10 minutes. Chu Liuchen's cold words came into her ears again, and Qin Yan asked subconsciously, what? Chu Luqian looked up at her as if he was looking at an idiot. Xiao Xuanzi reminded him in a low voice, "My master means that you can talk, but only 10 minutes. If you want to say something, say it quickly. Don't be thrown out by my master." Xiao Xuanzi really didn't mean to scare her. Given his master's temperament, how could he allow an irrelevant person like her to waste such a long time? Qin Yan felt so aggrieved that her eyes turned red. She looked up at Chu Luqian and took a deep breath to suppress the grievance in her heart. It seemed that Prince Chen didn't have tender feelings for women. If she really cried, he might ask someone to throw her out directly. "Cousin, the Qin family has a team of secret guards that can help you. Now I have this team with me. Concubine Lan brought me here because of this matter." Qin Yan had to tell him what she wanted to do. After saying this, Qin Yan became complacent and raised her head slightly. She was the only daughter of the current eldest daughter of the Qin family, and could be regarded as the last person of the lineal branch. Because there were no children, the last strength of the Qin family fell into her hands. At that time, when the Qin family became the empress's family, it was not completely useless. Before the death of the former empress, she asked them to preserve their strength. In fact, this secret guard was in the hands of the former empress at the beginning. If her cousin knew that she had such a force in her hands, he would definitely think highly of her. So what? Chu Luqian said coldly, without a trace of warmth in his voice and cold eyes, does concubine Lan want to rely on a secret guard to succeed? Can't she? Qi Niyan was originally full of confidence. Because she had such a secret guard in her hands, she had always felt that she was different from other women. She would not risk her life for a man. She thought that she should become an empress who supported the emperor. Of course, she could also be a powerful concubine who could also be trusted by the emperor. But now she didn't understand what Chu Luqian meant. She looked at Chu Luqian in front of her in astonishment. Did he mean that he looked down on her strength? How could it be possible? Does your Qin's mansion want to rebel, or does concubine Lan want to succeed by herself? Chu Luqian said. Qi Niyan hurriedly shook her head and said, Cousin, you misunderstood. Our Qin family has no ambition, and concubine Lan is just in the harem. She has no ambition either. Since you have no ambition, why do you need secret guards? Chu Luqian curled his lips sarcastically, and a smile appeared on his handsome face. But such a smile fell into Qi Niyan's eyes and was cold. No, cousin, you need them. Qi Niyan didn't know what was wrong. Why was it different from what concubine Lan thought? She and concubine Lan were really kind. It was not that the Qin family had any ambition, and it was not that concubine Lan herself had any ambition. We all want to help you, cousin. Qi Niyan explained again. Do I look like I'm short of manpower? Chu Luqian raised his eyebrows. But concubine Lan said that it would be better to give them to you and let them secretly protect you. Qi Niyan said uneasily. Give them to me? Chu Luqian smiled and then reached out his hand to Qi Niyan. Since they are for me, just give me the token. Cousin, they are not for you. I can help you through me. Only through me can you provide help. Do you understand what I mean? Qi Niyan bit her lip and said. If they are for me, just give them to me. If they need an outsider, then get out. Chu Luqian said bluntly, and there was more coldness in his eyes. No matter who they are, Prince Chen's mansion belongs to me. If an outsider wants to intervene, don't bother me. I don't care about the relationship between cousins. Cold sweat came out of Qi Niyan's forehead. She could be sure that these words were not to scare her. If her secret guards really appeared in Prince Chen's mansion, they would probably be killed. At that time, even if it was not a lose-lose situation, it would not benefit her at all. Cousin, my people are your people. How can you do this? Qi Niyan said angrily. Either hand over the token or leave. Chu Luqian looked at her and smiled more and more coldly. There was a trace of malice on his handsome face, like the most gorgeous venomous snake leisurely sticking out its tongue. When he glanced at Qi Niyan, she trembled all over. After taking 2 steps back, she did not dare to stay any longer and hurriedly turned around and went downstairs. She had to discuss it with concubine Lan. Because of Prince Chen's attitude, she was at a loss for what to do. Shouldn't Prince Chen think highly of me when he knows that I have such a secret guard in my hands? Then, he would become her right-hand man and have this secret guard be at her beck and call. She did not want to be a weak woman like Xiao Wanru, nor did she care how many women her cousin had. She was unique and indispensable to her cousin. She was destined to stand at the top with him hand in hand. She did not like a woman like Princess Chen. Such a woman would only drag her cousin down. How could she accompany her cousin to stand at the top? But now, she was driven out by her cousin without saying a word. How could Qi Niyan not feel wronged? She returned to her residence and sat quietly. Thinking about what had happened during this period of time, she secretly gritted her teeth. Even if her cousin liked Princess Chen, so what? She was the most suitable woman to help him. She had to find an opportunity to go to the palace and talk to her aunt about it. Her aunt had the most say in the matter of the secret guard. Her aunt also said that she was Prince Chen's greatest help that day. Now she just needed her cousin to listen to her aunt. Thinking of this, she breathed a sigh of relief. She was waiting for the day to go to the palace to see her aunt. At this time, she could not act rashly, nor could she let the secret guard enter Prince Chen's mansion, lest it cause unnecessary trouble. Qin Yiyan waited quietly for Xiao Wanru to enter the palace. She would go to the palace with her to see concubine Lan. She had been wronged by Chu Luchen, and Qin Yiyan believed that concubine Lan would definitely help her. She even thought that it might be because of Princess Chen. Could it be that Princess Chen had said something slanderous in front of her cousin and made her cousin treat her so rudely? Thinking about it carefully, it was really possible. A woman like Princess Chen was really troublesome. She didn't know what was going on at present. At this time, she was still jealous of her. She had tried her best to avoid such a misunderstanding. A woman like her was better. She was capable enough, and she could tolerate her cousin having many women. She even didn't care if her cousin had a princess. She was the one who could do great things, and Princess Chen was a useless woman who held her back. Qin Yiyan thought that Xiao Wanru should go to the palace within 2 days. Seeing that Xiao Wanru had almost recovered, she needed to prepare something early to see concubine Lan. What Qin Yiyan didn't expect was that what she waited for was not the news that Xiao Wanru would go to the palace, but the news that Xiao Wanru would go to the princess's mansion to attend the banquet. At this time, the invitation had entered the gate of Prince Chen's mansion, and there was another thing with the invitation. End of this chapter. Chapter 1159. Changxing grass. Xiao Wanru curiously picked up a few mediocre grasses in the box and asked, "What is Princess Yuyan going to do?" Changxing grass, which had caused trouble many times before, almost killed her. What did Princess Yuyan mean by sending it to her now? Of course, she wouldn't think that it was an unintentional coincidence. Chu Luchen looked at the Changxing grass in Xiao Wanru's hand lazily and said casually, "I asked Su State for it before." "What do you want these grasses for?" Xiao Wanru asked in confusion and waved the half-withered grass in her hand. It looked fresh, at least not completely withered. "I asked for it for my uncle, but Su State always said that they didn't have it and said that they should look for it carefully. It's not so easy to find this kind of grass in Su State. It can only be found in remote mountains and swamps where no one goes." "Then your majesty, why do you want to find it?" Xiao Wanru blinked her watery eyelashes and asked hesitantly. "Of course, my uncle wants to find out what happened at that time. Everything is related to the Changxing grass. I don't know whether Su State sent the Changxing grass or someone else hooked up with Su State and found other Changxing grass. No matter which one it is, it's not a happy thing," Chu Luchen said. The dark robe he wore made his face look like a pearl. His eyes were extremely deep, and he didn't look as gentle as he used to be. At this time, he looked very similar to Xiao Wanru, with a hint of indifference, which added a little coldness to his eyebrows. Xiao Wanru thought for a moment. She was indeed involved in the matter at that time, but Chu Luchen took over later. She believed that she would not be involved again, but she was afraid that he would be involved. These things could be big or small. She had thought that it had been settled, but now it seemed that the emperor just restrained it for the time being. The envoy of Su State had an ulterior motive. Is the Changxing soothing grass going to be sent to the imperial palace? Xiao Wanru thought for a while and said, "Will it involve you?" "Don't worry. I won't be implicated in this matter. It was my uncle who asked me to ask for it from the Su kingdom, not in the name of my uncle, but in my name. It's a personal relationship. If the Su kingdom gave it to me readily, it means that my son-in-law didn't know about it. But if it didn't give it readily, there would be a problem." Chu Luchen smiled. His face became gentle, and his eyes became moist. Xiao Wanru shook the Changxing grass in her hand and asked curiously, "In the current situation, is it cool or not?" "It's not very cool, but it doesn't seem to be related to my son-in-law." But it has a close relationship with my son-in-law. It should be someone close to my son-in-law. Chu Luchen said with a thoughtful look in his eyes. That day, before he left, he made this request to his son-in-law. At that time, Sigua hesitated for a moment. He originally wanted to agree, but at that time, Princess Yu Yan and Consort Li happened to be talking about something else. They asked about Princess Yu Yan after returning to the empire, so this topic was put aside. When he left, he asked the envoy again, but the envoy said he didn't know. At that time, he was about to leave, so it was too late to ask. Moreover, he didn't ask for it in the name of the country, but in his personal name. In fact, he could give it or not. He had thought that the emperor was going to pretend to be deaf and dumb, but he didn't expect that he sent it to him through Princess Yuyan. The meaning of it was really true. It was the first grade. These Changxing grass seemed to be given by Princess Yuyan. Of course, the purpose was to make friends with Chu Luchen. Princess Yuyan was just a princess in the imperial harem. Although she was familiar with Changxing grass, she would never collect it. But if she didn't, it must be Consort Li. When the emperor was about to talk about it that day, they changed the topic, so that the topic was left unsettled. Are you going to attend this party? Xiao Wanru asked with a smile, with a hint of understanding in her eyes. Of course. Since Princess Yuyan is so sincere, how can I not go to join in the fun? Chu Luchen said with a meaningful smile. Consort Li, this woman was very suspicious. If she was really Consort Li, who would she collude with? The matter of Changxing grass might be true or false, and he also had a hand in it, but some things were true. Someone did secretly use Changxing grass. The coachman of Prince Zhou's mansion did use Changxing grass. He had checked and found that those Changxing grass didn't come from the national treasury, although the Changxing grass in the national treasury was also gone. The same invitation card also appeared in front of Chu Liuchen's desk. Looking at the extremely beautifully decorated invitation card, Chu Luchen raised his head and looked at Princess Yuyan opposite him. Thank you for coming here specially, Princess. I will be there. Thank you, Your Highness, for supporting us. It's the first time I come to your Dongsang kingdom, so the first thing I want to do is to invite you princes. I have received a clear message from your highness, and I don't know if the other princes will also give us face. Princess Yuyan said with a smile. She was dressed very beautifully today, with a kind of inadvertent charm. A peacock dress with complicated patterns fell to the ground. On the light gray coat, the armband was winding and hung down from the arm, swaying beautifully. Even when she didn't walk, she looked delicate and charming. The belt of the same color was tied around her slender waist, which showed her slender waist and plump breasts. Even this figure made people's heart beat faster. Moreover, she had a charming eyebrow. A pair of beautiful eyes seemed to fall on Chu Liuchen's face with affection, and she smiled sweetly. Your Highness, don't you want to personally send it to the other princes' mansions? Chu Luchen was moved and asked with a smile. He scratched his finger on the invitation card, which was quite meaningful. No, Prince Zhou's mansion asked Infanta Yuan then, and she said that she would invite them. Princess Chen promised Big Sister before, so she should come together. As for Prince Xian, Big Sister invited him, but I don't know if it's okay, so I came to Prince Zhou's mansion. I was worried that Prince Xian would give me the cold shoulder, but fortunately, Prince Xian didn't embarrass me. Princess Yu Yan had a lucky look on her face as she patted her chest. Chu Liuchen's eyes moved down unconsciously, and then he slowly raised his head. I'm really sorry that your highness came to Dongsang Kingdom in person. Originally, I should have invited you, but I didn't expect that your highness took the initiative. Your highness, you're too polite. Princess Yu Yan said in a sweet voice. I'm not polite. Chu Luchen shook his hand and said, I really wanted to do that, but I have no wife in my mansion, so I was embarrassed to invite you two princesses. Chu Luchen frowned slightly when he said this, and it seemed that he was a little unhappy to talk about this topic. Your Highness, you're too polite. We're very grateful for your kindness. Prince, you didn't get married, but Prince Chen, the third prince, got married. I think it's very strange. Is this the custom of your country? Princess Yuyan asked curiously, and she moved closer to Chu Luchen. Her corset was originally high, and the collar was neither high nor low, which was very appropriate. But when she moved closer, a trace of snow-white skin could be seen, which was very attractive. This time, Chu Luchen seemed to not see her temptation, but just shook his head with a wry smile, leaned back, and kept a distance from Princess Yuyan. Of course, we should also be brothers first, but the third brother's situation is special. He was not in good health at that time, and Imperial Grandmother was afraid of him. So she let him get married early. But His Royal Highness Wang is the eldest son of the Emperor. Princess Yuyan said discontentedly on behalf of Chu Luchen, first come, first served. We can't mess up the ethics. If we change it at will, many things in the world will be messed up. His words had a hidden meaning. Many things. For example, the matter of Chu Luchen marrying a wife first could also be said to be a matter of the emperor passing the throne to his eldest son, which could also be based on the law. Princess Yuyan thinks that everything should be based on first come, first served. Chu Lu raised his eyebrows and laughed. He liked this saying. Of course. Princess Yuyan said. Her beautiful eyes fell on Chu Lu's face. I heard that your highness's princess is Prime Minister Zhang's daughter. I wonder how beautiful she is. I've already sent someone to invite her. I wonder if she'll come. Can your highness send someone to talk to her and ask her to give me face? I can't help you with this. Chu Lu said awkwardly. Why? Could it be that Miss Zhang is not going to give His Royal Highness face? Princess Yuyan was surprised and looked at Chu Lu with bright eyes. I'm not very familiar with Miss Zhang. I've only met her twice. Even if I meet her, I don't have much to say. Chu Lu frowned. It was obvious that he was a little unhappy. Princess Yuyan's heart skipped a beat. She was overjoyed. It seemed that the relationship between Miss Zhang and the king was very ordinary. That was great. She thought so in her heart, but didn't show it on her face. She was even more surprised. Your Highness, aren't you going to get married soon? Don't tell me you haven't been in contact until now. Where did this relationship come from? Parents' orders and matchmakers' words. Chu Lu said implicitly. I know that Eastern Sung Kingdom advocates this kind of marriage, but I heard that the prince's marriage has to be satisfied. Is your Royal Highness satisfied? Princess Yuyan said. She looked at Chu Lu with concern, and her eyes were full of charm. Princess Yuyan herself was extremely beautiful and could be considered a rare beauty. Moreover, her overflowing seductive appearance made it difficult for any man to feel pity for her. However, Princess Yuyan was not as beautiful as Xiao Yanru. Xiao Yanru would sometimes show her so-called seduction. Compared with Princess Yuyan's seduction, Xiao Yanru's desire was of a higher level. Therefore, Chu Lu understood Princess Yuyan's intention at a glance. However, this was a good thing for him. If Princess Yuyan was willing to be a concubine, he didn't mind letting her enter the prince's mansion. The Su Kingdom was a help. This was also the reason why he followed Princess Yuyan's words. As for Zhang Qilan, he was really not very satisfied. There were two specific reasons. Chapter 1160. There were two reasons why Chu Lu was dissatisfied with Zhang Qilan. The first reason was Prime Minister Zhang's attitude. Even if Zhang Qilan was to be his wife, Prime Minister Zhang's attitude seemed to be impartial and fair in the court. Even if Chu Lu wanted to be closer to him, he always laughed it off and treated him the same as before. This made Chu Lu, who was anxious, feel very uncomfortable. The second reason was that Zhang Qilan was not as beautiful as Xiao Yanru. Chu Lu liked Xiao Yanru at the beginning. Although Zhang Qilan was good-looking, she was still much worse than Xiao Yanru. It was concubine Da's idea to choose Zhang Qilan. Chu Lu was not very satisfied. However, he also knew that Zhang Qilan was the best at present, but he always felt that it was not enough. If he could get another help, it would also be a benefit for him. If Princess Yuan took the initiative to come to him, he really would not reject her. Between the two of them, one was sentimental and the other was righteous. Although Chu Lu had always behaved like a gentleman and did not look at Princess Yuyan's high chest, his expression was a little more gentle than before, revealing some faintly discernible affection. Princess Yuyan was very satisfied. Although Chu Lu did not say anything, when she was in the Su Kingdom, she was flattered by many young men, so she could still see at a glance whether there was affection or not. The more they talked, the more agreeable and affectionate they became. Finally, Princess Yuyan saw that it was getting late and got up reluctantly. There was no mistress in the prince's mansion now, so it was extremely inappropriate for her to stay for dinner. Chu Lu personally sent her to the door. According to her identity as the princess of the Su Kingdom, he should send her off. After Princess Yuyan's carriage left, he slowly turned back to the mansion with a mocking smile on his face. A princess of a small foreign country took the initiative to come to him. It was Chu Qing who would be embarrassed, so he would not refuse her. As for the objection of the Zhang mansion, let them find the Su Kingdom. If Prime Minister Zhang did not give him some practical benefits, he would quietly watch the fight between Princess Yuyan and Zhang Qilan. Princess Yu Tao and Princess Yu Yan did not invite many people, but they were all rich and noble, and they were all young people. This could be counted as the first friendly contact between the royal families of the Su Kingdom and the Eastern Sung Kingdom. There weren't many people, and the princess's mansion didn't have a male master, so they didn't receive them separately. According to Princess Yuyan's words, in her Su Kingdom, as long as the gathering of the children of the nobility was small, there was no need to split them into two places. When eating, they could just use a screen to separate them. When enjoying the scenery, they could walk together. There were only a few kings among the men who came today. They were all princes, all of them exceptionally respected. As for the womenfolk, they were more or less related to these princes and were not outsiders. When the carriage of Prince Chen's mansion entered the princess mansion, Princess Yuyan had already been waiting there. Seeing Xiao Wanru get off the carriage alone, she deliberately looked back with a teasing smile. Seeing that no one got off the carriage, she asked with a teasing smile, "Is there something wrong with Prince Chen today that prevents him from coming?" "Your Highness will come over later," Xiao Wanru said softly. "I thought Prince Chen wouldn't come." "In that case, please come in, Your Highness," Princess Yuyan said affectionately. She reached out and seemed to want to hold Xiao Wanru's hand. Xiao Wanru happened to turn to the side and said a few words to Yujie, cleverly avoiding her hand. A trace of anger flashed across Princess Yuyan's face, but she immediately hid it in her eyes. She put down her hand and said with a smile, "Among the misses who came today, only Your Highness has the highest status. I can't trouble Your Highness to introduce them one by one." Although Xiao Wanru was young, her status was indeed the highest. Before Infanta Yuan and Zhang Qilan married the two princes, their status couldn't compare with Xiao Wanru. It could be said that this request was not too much. "I'm afraid I have to disappoint the two princesses. I don't know many people. Since I married Prince Chen, I have been in poor health. I haven't seen many of the noble misses in the capital city. Princess Yuyan, you can ask Infanta Yuan and for help. She has a noble status and has been living in the capital city for a long time. She has a good relationship with Princess Yuyan." Xiao Wanru refused with a smile. She would not intervene in today's banquet. If she intervened, it would be difficult to explain some things in the future. In any case, Princess Yuyan was not the kind of person who would settle down. She was just an ordinary guest. Infanta Yuan is good, but compared with Princess Chen, her status is a little low. Princess Yuyan was very dissatisfied, but she didn't show it on her face. Infanta Yuan is the future Princess Shou. She has a noble status. Even if she is not the future Princess Shou, she is also the Infanta of the country. Moreover, I heard that she and Princess Yuyan get along well, Xiao Wanru said. She implied that Infanta Yuan and Princess Yuyan had a close relationship. Instead of letting Infanta Yuan, who was familiar with the daughters of aristocratic families in the capital city, take charge, she, who didn't know anything, which made people feel suspicious. Princess Yuyan didn't expect Xiao Wanru to be so vigilant, and her face was a little stiff. Fortunately, Infanta Yuan had reminded her about this before. She didn't believe it before, thinking that Xiao Wanru would always give face to the Su kingdom, and this reason was also appropriate. Suppressing the heat in her heart, Princess Yuyan still said with a regretful smile, "In this case, I can only forget it. I originally thought that Princess Chen's status was the most noble." While talking, the two of them had entered the garden. This residence was prepared when it was heard that a princess was going to marry into the Su kingdom. The princess of the Su kingdom only lived here temporarily. No matter which prince's mansion she married in the future, this place would be useless. Therefore, the place was moderate and not particularly large. Of course, it couldn't be compared with an ordinary prince's mansion. This was just an empty house. After a little cleaning, the two princesses moved in. The garden was quite exquisite. Some of the flowers and plants in it seemed to be newly planted, but even so, they were well planted. Among the lush flowers, there were pieces of flowers embellished from time to time. "Princess Chen, take a walk first. I have to pick up the other misses." Princess Yu Yan said with a smile, "From here, there will be refreshments along the way. If Princess Chen is tired, you can rest in the pavilion by the roadside and have some tea and snacks. I will bring the other young ladies over in a while." The direction that Princess Yuyan pointed to did not seem to be the main road of the garden. It was a winding path leading to a place with excellent scenery. Looking from a distance, the pavilions and terraces were very elegant. "Where is Princess Yutao?" Xiao Wanru did not move immediately, but asked with a smile. "Big sister went to the outer court just now. There should be a prince coming. Today, I will pick up the womenfolk in the inner court. Big sister will pick up the ones in the outer court and bring them all here later." Princess Yuyan explained with a smile. Since there was no male master, the two princesses divided the work. It was indeed appropriate for Princess Yutao to pick up the princes. Princess Yutao was considered a prince in the Su kingdom and could inherit the throne in the future. Princess Chen is Fang Xen. Miss Shang also came before. If Princess Chen walked faster, she might have met Miss Shang. Unfortunately, I met Miss Shang. I heard that Miss Shang and Princess Chen are close friends. Princess Yuyan pointed forward with a smile and said, "She came a little earlier than Princess Chen. She should be not far ahead." At this point, it was inappropriate for Xiao Wanru to hold Princess Yuyan's hand anymore. She nodded with a smile, said goodbye to Princess Yuyan with a smile, and walked straight to the flowers and trees with the two servant girls. Not long after they walked, they met a servant girl in the mansion. Seeing Xiao Wanru coming over, she hurriedly stepped aside and bowed respectfully. Seeing her remove the teacup, Xiao Wanru stopped and asked, "Who is in front?" The teacup had obviously just been used. Since it was removed, it meant that the person who had used it had left. The miss of Prime Minister Zhang's mansion was just resting in a pavilion in front. The servant girl answered in a low voice. Xiao Wanru waved her hand, asked the servant girl to leave, and continued to walk forward with Yujia and Qing. After walking for a while, she saw a pavilion on the side of the path. The silk draped down, leaving only one side facing the road. Through the fluttering silk, she could see a plate of fruits and tea on the stone table. But there was no one serving outside the pavilion. It should be the servant girl who had left just now who was serving here. This place was extremely quiet. Birds chirped a few times, making the scenery a little more lively. "Your Highness, look, there are bird cages above." With her sharp eyes, the green girl immediately caught sight of the two bird cages hanging on the edge of the pavilion. A few colorful birds were jumping around in the cages, raising their heads and chirping from time to time, which made them look really cute. Xiao Wanru walked towards the pavilion. It was indeed an excellent place where she could enjoy birds and have a rest. The journey was neither short nor long, and she didn't see anyone around her. It was good to have a rest here. After entering the pavilion, she found that all the utensils inside were clean. Even if someone had used it before, the tea set had been changed. Yujie reached out to touch the teapot placed in the middle, which was very hot. She picked up the empty cup placed on one side and poured a cup for Xiao Wanru. The tea was fragrant, and the tea leaves used were also good. It could be seen that it was indeed carefully arranged. Not far away, there was a corner of the courtyard that was raised high. Xiao Wanru didn't know where it was. Because she couldn't see it clearly, it made her have some different emotions. There were a few clusters of flowers outside the pavilion. The flower branches were vines, which didn't look like any kind of flower Xiao Wanru had ever seen. The vines were fluttering, dotted with sporadic flowers, but they still looked green. They didn't look like the delicate flowers in the capital city. However, judging from the sharp thorns on the flower branches, she knew that this kind of flower should be very vigorous. The flower was small, but the vines were strong. Your Highness, this kind of flower seems to grow in the mountains. When I was in the nunnery, I sometimes went to the mountains with Mingqiu Nun to pick herbs. Such small flowers may grow in the extremely lush vines. At that time, I felt that they were very beautiful, more beautiful than the flowers in the garden. Yujie walked to the entrance of the pavilion, squatted down and looked at it for a while, and said to Xiao Wanru with a smile. She liked this kind of flower. Before she followed Xiao Wanru, she was a wild girl raised in the mountains. This kind of flower was her favorite. Occasionally, she would pick a few and put them in her hair. She was not a bald nun, but a young girl. Even if she had lived in the nunnery all the time, she still cared about beauty. I'll pick one and take it back to show Mingqiu Nun. It may be useful. Chapter 1161. After saying that, Yujie reached out to pick them. She had never seen this kind of vines before, and they might have medicinal value. She would pick a flower and show it to Mingqiu Nun. She had done this many times in the past, and the possibility was very high. Yujie thought that the medicinal value was much better than the ornamental value. Hearing her words, Xiao Wanru also looked at these vines. She lifted the corner of her dress and walked over. She didn't notice it at first, but now she found that these vines were really unusual. She had never seen them before, and they didn't seem to be liked by Princess Yuyan or Princess Yutao. Even she didn't care about them before. Only Yujie cared about them because she came from the mountains and liked this kind of wild flowers. They were not very beautiful and couldn't be compared with those flowers for ornamental purposes, which were as beautiful as clouds. If Yujie didn't mention them, she wouldn't care about such small flowers at all. Where did Princess Yuyan and Princess Yutao find such flowers? Are they newly transplanted? The green leaves were so lush that she couldn't see the bottom. Yujie carefully reached out to pluck them and nodded. They are indeed newly transplanted. This garden was just moved in by the two princesses, and many flowers and plants have not been transplanted for a long time. Qing also came over and looked through the branches and leaves that Yujie had just plucked and said, this one was transplanted at a different time, and it hasn't fully come to life yet. It should be transplanted in the past few days. Along the way, there were some flowers and plants that were new, but at least they were alive. They were at least 10 days old. The flowers on them were very energetic and did not look wilted at all. Only this cluster of flowers in front of him looked weak and dispirited. If she didn't look carefully, she wouldn't be able to see it for a while. Yujie reached out to pluck the flowers again. Just when she was about to do so, Xiao Wanru came over. There were a lot of flowers and plants in the garden, and there was a fragrance of flowers along the way. The flowers in front of her had almost no fragrance, but Xiao Wanru inexplicably felt a little strange. This cluster of flowers gave her a very strange feeling. It was as if she had forgotten something. He looked left and right, then up and down. There was nothing wrong. There was only the sound of birds chirping in his ears. It was very elegant, just like an ordinary resting pavilion. The fragrance of tea rose in spirals, the fragrance of flowers wafted in waves, and the chirping of birds rang in the ears. No matter how one looked at it, it was pleasing to the eye. Looking at the location of the pavilion again, it was not bad. On one side was a rockery, and on the other side was a small lake. The lake was full of green lotuses, and a few of them had already sprouted. The pink flower buds fell among the green leaves, embellishing the elegant and beautiful scenery. It was a good place for people to admire the flowers and scenery. Let's go. Xiao Wanru frowned slightly and said, feeling inexplicably uneasy. Your Highness, it's nice here. Why don't you take a rest? Yu Jie squatted on the ground, looked up at Xiao Wanru and said. She had just picked a flower in her hand. Qing also looked at Xiao Wanru in surprise. She didn't understand why Xiao Wanru suddenly wanted to leave at this time. I think it's too quiet here, and it seems a little hidden. Before Xiao Wanru finished her words, she saw the person coming from the corner of her eyes and immediately stopped talking. After turning the corner of the rockery, Chu Luiyue appeared. He came from the side of the pavilion and only saw that there was someone in the pavilion, but he didn't notice who it was. He strode over with the little eunuch and turned to the pavilion. When he turned to the pavilion, he seemed to be stunned when he saw Xiao Wanru in the pavilion. Princess Chen. Greetings, Your Highness. Since Xiao Wanru saw him, she naturally couldn't be rude. She took a step forward and saluted first. No, was Princess Chen here just now? Chu Liuyue's eyes fell on Xiao Wanru's face. He saw that she was half-turned. From his angle, he could only see her side face. Her side face was a little gentle and respectful, but even if it was just a side face, it made people unable to ignore her beauty. Her delicate facial features and dazzling lip color made people have endless imagination even if she didn't wear anything. Originally, he thought it was Zhang Qilan here, but he didn't expect it to be Xiao Wanru. Why was she looking for him? He didn't expect it to be her before, and he knew that he should leave at this time. However, when he saw her as delicate as a flower, he didn't want to leave for a moment. I'm tired, so I'll take a rest here for a while. Xiao Wanru stood up and explained. Chu Luiyue replied with a low, in a non-committal manner, strode into the pavilion, and sat down on the stone bench. The little eunuch beside him hurriedly stepped forward to pour a cup of tea for him, and then stepped aside. Chu Luiyue took a sip and nodded. The tea was good. He looked up at Xiao Wanru, who was standing at the entrance of the pavilion, and pointed to the stone bench in front of him. Princess Chen, please sit down. Since she asked him to come here for something, why was she so reserved now? Was it because there were many people here? Chu Luiyue looked at the two maids she brought, and then looked at the little eunuch with him. He waved his hand, and the little eunuch tactfully retreated to the entrance of the pavilion and stood with Yu Jie and Qing. Xiao Wanru hesitated for a moment, but at this time, she couldn't leave without saying anything. She walked up to Chu Luiyue and said, Prince Yu, if you're tired, you can take a rest. It's almost time for me to rest, so I'll leave. Princess Chen, are you leaving? Chu Luiyue played with the teacup in his hand, and his eyes fell on Xiao Wanru. There were no outsiders here, so he could look at her openly. She was dressed in a very simple lavender dress, which was divided into 8 pieces and slightly tied at the waist. There was only a high hairpin on her black hair, and a few beads hanging down were not big, but they made her look more delicate than a flower. It seemed that no matter when she appeared in front of others, she was not dressed up in a fancy way. Chu Luiyue, who had seen her several times, knew that such a lip color should be her natural color without any makeup. When such a red color fell on her lips, even if she didn't speak or smile, it made his heart itch. He really wanted to kiss the corners of her lips to see if the bright color was very soft and beautiful. His breathing inexplicably quickened. I've already had a good rest, so I won't disturb your rest. Xiao Wanru said indifferently. But even if she was indifferent, her bright lips were also full of charm in Chu Liuyue's eyes. That kind of attitude of welcoming and rejecting was more like what Xiao Yanru had done in the past. Sure enough, they were sisters of the same mansion. Chu Luiyue smiled. Even if they didn't grow up together, they still wanted to imitate each other's behavior at this time. The feeling of blending in their bones was something that others couldn't imitate. Fortunately, he had always been very used to Xiao Yanru's behavior and knew how to deal with it. didn't it mean that she had to maintain a woman's modesty since she wanted to save face? If it was another woman, he wouldn't have the heart to chat with her, nor would he have the heart to make her happy. But if it was Xiao Wanru, he really didn't mind making her happy. He really didn't mind making her happy, so that she could not only save face but also maintain her modesty. Princess Chen, you don't have to rush there. Third brother will come over in a while. Sit down first, and you happen to go back with him later. Chu Luiyue said gently with a handsome smile. Thank you for your kindness, Your Highness, but Miss Zhang is waiting for me in front. Xiao Wanru didn't want to stay with Chu Luiyue, so she said. Was Zhang Qilan in front? Chu Luiyue was unhappy. He just came all the way here and didn't meet Zhang Qilan at all. Now he saw Xiao Wanru, who called him over under the guise of Zhang Qilan. What did she mean now? After calling him over, she insisted on leaving, as if he wanted to force her to do something. The impatience in the bottom of his heart became more and more obvious. He didn't know whether it was because of the person's appearance or the attitude of the person in front of him. Even if he wanted to coax her, she should stop. Instead of acting coquettishly, Princess Chen, you don't have to leave in a hurry. Miss Zhang will be here in a while. Miss Zhang will be here in a while. Xiao Wanru didn't understand and looked at Chu Luiyue in astonishment. A pair of beautiful eyes fell on Chu Luiyue. Her eyes were clear, but it also made the corners of her lips more attractive. Her long eyelashes fluttered twice, which made Chu Luiyue's heart beat rapidly. He stood up impatiently and walked to Xiao Wanru with his hands clasped behind his back. The wind blew and raised the hanging curtain, as well as Xiao Wanru's dress. The light purple and plain dress couldn't hide her beauty. This was the so-called national beauty of a peony. Compared with Xiao Yanru, she was more attractive. He involuntarily stretched out his hand. Princess Chen, sit down and wait for a while. Someone will be here in a while. He came over so suddenly that when Xiao Wanru reacted, the two of them were already too close. Seeing him stretch out his hand, Xiao Wanru was so scared that she took a few steps back and almost fell. Fortunately, Qing, who was behind her, reacted quickly and reached out to help her, so that she didn't fall. Chu Luiyue didn't hold her hand, only her sleeve. Prince Yu, please behave yourself. Xiao Wanru was furious. She pulled her sleeve back with force. Chu Luiyue looked at his empty hand and frowned more and more. He raised his eyes and said with cold eyes, I want you to behave yourself. Since you invited me here, why do you look indifferent to me? In this case, you didn't have to send someone to invite me just now. You even dared to pretend to be Miss Zhang. Aren't you afraid that Miss Zhang will be angry if she knows it? This kind of attitude of pretending to refuse was too much, which made Chu Luiyue angry. I pretended to ask Miss Zhang to invite Prince Yu here. Xiao Wanru was stunned for a long time before she reacted. Her eyes wandered around and she immediately knew that she might be plotted against by others. Not only herself, but also Chu Luiyue. She took a few steps back and went straight to the door of the pavilion. Your Highness, you are wrong. I just came here and didn't ask you to come here. Maybe it was really Miss Zhang who asked me to come here. Your Highness, you misunderstood me. At this time, she already felt that something was wrong. Her eyes fell on Chu Luiyue's somewhat excited face. His originally handsome face seemed to be angry or something else at this time, and it actually turned red. He stared at her tightly. Seeing her retreat, he took a few steps forward and actually wanted to pull her again. Chu Luiyue's situation was not right. Chapter 1162. Chu Luiyue had always been calm. As the eldest son of the emperor, he always looked like a prince in front of others and was a little cold. How could there be such an agitated situation at this time? Even if he had been deceived to come here before, he should leave at this time instead of entangling with her. Xiao Wanru felt that it was not good. She was sure that someone must have seen this scene at this time. Who was it for? She took a few more steps back, and this time she decisively left the pavilion. Qing, and Yujie, the two maids, stood in front of her. Your Highness, I'm afraid that you have fallen into someone's trap. I didn't invite you here, and it's impossible for me to invite you here, let alone in the name of Miss Zhang. Not to mention that I don't know where you are, we have nothing to do with each other before, so it's impossible for me to find you. Xiao Wanru raised her eyes and reminded Chu Luyue with cold eyes. In the past, Chu Luyue could listen to her words and would leave immediately. But now, Chu Luyue, who was dominated by inexplicable anger, was very angry. He thought that Xiao Wanru was playing hard to get, and she went too far. He took a few steps forward and chased after her. He pulled away Yujie, who was an eyesore, and was about to reach out to pull Xiao Wanru, who was hiding behind the maid. His eyes were burning with anger. Princess Chen, what you said is really good. It seems that I came here uninvited. It is Princess Chen who asked me to come here and said that she had something to say. Chu Luyue became more and more annoyed. His hand was blocked by Qing, and he wanted to reach out again. His eyes were burning with anger and excitement. His eyes were fixed on Xiao Wanru's cherry lips, as if they could make him feel at ease. Xiao Wanru didn't expect that Chu Luyue would lose his mind like this. After retreating again and again, she suddenly stood still and said, Your Highness, don't you feel strange? Why is Prince Yu, who has always been calm, so angry? Could it be that he was drugged? She locked Chu Luyue with her cold eyes without a trace of warmth, which even made Chu Luyue see a little sarcasm. The inexplicable anger in his heart grew stronger, and he had a feeling of rushing over and grabbing Xiao Wanru. Prince Xiao Qizi, who was waiting outside, finally felt that something was wrong. He took out something from his bosom, took 2 steps forward, and reached out to pull Chu Luyue. He didn't know what was in his hand. After putting it in Chu Luyue's palm, Chu Luyue was smart and suddenly stopped, with an uncertain look on his face. Seeing him calm down a little, Xiao Wanru said coldly, Your Highness, I'm afraid that you have been plotted against. At this time, someone must have seen this scene. If you come closer, I'm afraid that you can't bear the consequences. Chu Luyue's face was still slightly red, and his eyes were gloomy. He took a deep breath to calm down the irritation in his heart. There was a piece of cold jade in his hand, and when he held it, his palm felt cold. He had put it in Xiao Qizi's place, for fear that he would do something he regretted when he was restless. Chu Luyue felt the coldness at the bottom of his hand, the coldness at the bottom of Xiao Wanru's eyes, and Xiao Wanru kept retreating. He finally felt that something was wrong. He was very impulsive just now, which was not like him in the past. He raised his eyes to look around. The 2 of them, one retreating and the other chasing, had retreated to the rockery. Half of his vision was blocked by the rockery, while the other half could only see the tall eaves of the courtyard, the shade of the trees and the flowers. It didn't mean that others couldn't see him. She reached out to touch her burning forehead, waved to Xiao Wanru, and said with difficulty, Princess Chen, please go back. Xiao Wanru nodded, turned around and left with the 2 maids. No matter what, it was not a place to stay for a long time. The problem must be with the cluster of flowers at the door. She clearly saw that when Chu Luyue came, he was obviously normal. Later, he became abnormal and became more and more angry. There were many things in the barren land that she did not know, and even Mingqiu Nun might not know. If this thing was useless, Princess Yuyan would not have placed it here. It was just an ordinary small flower for viewing. Princess Yuyan would not spend so much effort to plant it. However, there was no evidence for this kind of thing. There were many things in the Su country that Dongzang did not know. But it was very strange that she did not fall for it. Even the 2 maids and the little eunuch did not fall for it. Only Chu Luyue was there. It seemed that Chu Luyue should have drunk something, smelled something, or taken something before he came. She should check from Chu Luyue. The pavilion was facing this pavilion. Zhang Qilan and Infanta Yuan and sat on it, drinking tea, while looking at the scenery. The scenery was good. Although it was not big, it was elegant. There were also some things that were heard to be brought from the Su country, which had never been seen in the Dongsan country. Zhang Qilan was very curious. She half leaned against the fence, talking to Infanta Yuan and while enjoying the scenery. It was a coincidence that she met Infanta Yuan and she was originally wandering inside alone with her maid. In the past, she and Infanta Yuan were not very familiar with each other. Now that they met, she was embarrassed to refuse to go with them. Both of them were going to marry into the royal family. Zhang Qilan married into Prince Yu's mansion first, and then Infanta Yuan then. In the future, they would still be sisters-in-law, so it was impossible for them to ignore each other. After enjoying the scenery for a while, they went upstairs. Both of them leaned against the fence by the window, chatting while enjoying the scenery. Suddenly, Xiao Wanru appeared in Zhang Qilan's sight. Seeing her appear in the pavilion with two maids, Zhang Qilan frowned quietly. Since she heard the rumors about Prince Yu and Xiao Wanru, she disliked Xiao Wanru from the bottom of her heart. She had thought that Xiao Wanru was a very good and gentle girl before, but now she felt that Xiao Wanru was actually pretending. She had known Prince Yu for a long time, and they even had affection for each other. Prince Yu even went to the Empress to propose to her in person. If it weren't for Prince Chen, Xiao Wanru would be Prince Yu's wife now. Then what was she? Was she the one who married casually because he couldn't marry the woman he loved? In the past, she had heard that Prince Yu liked the first Miss Xiao, but no matter how much he liked her, she had never heard that Prince Yu formally went to the Empress to propose to her. It could be seen that it was not true. Only Xiao Wanru was the woman that Prince Yu really wanted to marry. Because of this, Zhang Qilan felt very uncomfortable in her heart. Xiao Wanru was injured. She was originally going to visit her, but after hearing such a rumor, she didn't want to go. Later, at the Empress Dowager's birthday banquet in the palace, she thought that she had to go to see for the sake of her reputation, but inexplicably hid behind the small tent. Seeing that Prince Zhou didn't go, but Prince Yu went to check the injury in person, she was even more jealous. Even now, she still couldn't let go of Xiao Wanru. What did Xiao Wanru mean? She still seduced Prince Yu at this time. Did she want to seduce Prince Yu all the time? Sure enough, she was a woman from a small place. She didn't know that a woman should be dignified and decent, and should be virtuous. Since she had married Prince Chen, she should live a good life and shouldn't keep an ambiguous relationship with Prince Yu. In Zhang Qilan's opinion, the reason why Prince Yu couldn't forget Xiao Wanru must be that Xiao Wanru was fickle. Thinking of such a woman, who she used to regard as a real friend, Zhang Qilan felt sick. She shouldn't have looked up to Xiao Wanru at the beginning, but now she hated her more and more. What's wrong? Did you see anything good? Infanta Yuan asked with a smile, as if she found that Zhang Qilan was in a daze. Zhang Qilan, who was absent-minded, didn't see the complacency in her eyes. It was about time. She really wanted to see this good show, but she was afraid of arousing Zhang Qilan's suspicion, so she pretended not to see anything. Nothing. Zhang Qilan calmly withdrew her gaze, picked up the half-warm tea on the table, and drank a few mouthfuls to calm down. Her eyes involuntarily looked at the pavilion, and then she saw Chu Luiyue appear at the intersection, holding the handkerchief tightly in his hand. The two of them really had a relationship. They actually lived in the princess's mansion, but still refused to stop. So in a place where she couldn't see, had they been having a rendezvous? As if her heart had been stabbed by a knife, Zhang Qilan's heart was burning. Her eyes fell on Chu Luiyue and watched him enter the pavilion. There were no outsiders, so the two of them should avoid arousing suspicion. The hanging gauze made it impossible to see the specific situation inside. She only saw that Chu Luiyue first sat down, then stood up, and seemed to walk to Xiao Wanru. The two of them held hands and talked very close. Zhang Qilan bit the corner of her lips tightly, wishing that she could go down and tear Xiao Wanru's gentle face now. If she didn't have some self-control, Zhang Qilan really couldn't bear it at this time. Infanta Yuan didn't seem to notice Zhang Qilan's strangeness. At this time, she and her servant girl picked up the snacks on the table and laid them out one by one to see which one was more delicious. Seeing that Infanta Yuan didn't pay attention to her, Zhang Qilan's gaze fell on the pavilion again. At this time, the two of them actually disappeared. She looked around and suddenly turned to a place. From her position, she could only see the corner of the clothes exposed outside the rockery. They actually hid in the rockery and directly made out. Thinking that the two of them might be hugging each other behind the rockery and the shape was indescribable, Zhang Qilan suddenly stood up, and her face turned pale with anger. "Miss Zhang, what's wrong?" Infanta Yuan was startled, looked up at her and asked in confusion. "Nothing, I suddenly thought of something." Zhang Qilan calmed herself down and slowly sat down again. If she had 8 or 9 doubts before, now she had actually seen it. There really was an affair between the two of them. It was not what she had guessed. She originally had 1 or 2 points of guilt, but now it had turned into anger. Xiao Wanru, this bitch, actually seduced her eldest uncle and went to his mansion to have a private meeting. The two of them hid behind the rockery and whispered sweet nothings to each other. She couldn't calm down no matter how hard she tried. She picked up the cup at hand, poured half a cup of wine into it, and then put it down with jealousy and hatred in her eyes. She would not let Xiao Wanru off. Chapter 1163. Remember in 1 second, 800 mail sign small/say net wonderful pop-up window free reading. Did you forget something? Do you need my help? Princess Yuan asked with a straight face. No, it's not a big deal. Zhang Qilan reached out and rubbed her forehead. It doesn't matter if it's not a big deal. I have nothing to do here anyway. Commandery Princess Yuan said with a smile, we're supposed to be guests together. I don't know if the princesses have too few guests today, but you're the only one I've seen so far. If you're busy and I'm free, I'd like to lend you a hand. It's a good way to relieve my boredom. There were indeed few people in their place. So far, Zhang Qilan only saw Xiao Wanru and Chu Luiyue. Let's go down for a walk. Zhang Qilan thought about it and stood up. I've been up here for so long, I have to go down and see other sceneries. Great. I was just about to say the same thing. Princess Yuan agreed readily. The two of them tidied up their clothes and went downstairs with the servant girl. When they left the window, Zhang Qilan glanced at the pavilion again. There was still no one. Her eyes turned to the rockery. She could vaguely see a corner of the clothes there. The two of them were actually having a rendezvous there. They were really shameless. He could no longer hide the hatred in his heart. There was no longer a trace of a smile on his face, and his eyes were filled with hatred. The two of them went out of the pavilion one after another. Commandery Princess Yuan pointed to a place and said that she wanted to take a look. Zhang Qilan parted with her and said that there were some small matters in the Prime Minister's mansion. She had to go back and tell someone. Although Commandery Princess Yuan repeatedly expressed that she wanted to help, Zhang Qilan said that it was a matter of the Prime Minister's mansion and it was inconvenient for Commandery Princess Yuan to intervene. Princess Yuan had no choice but to leave. Seeing Infanta Yuan leave, Zhang Qilan turned and walked to the pavilion she had seen before. Even if Infanta Yuan expressed kindness, she was still the future princess of Zhou. This kind of thing could not be seen by her. Otherwise, it might be a weakness of Prince Yu in the future. Zhang Qilan did not understand why Prince Yu wanted to die like this. Didn't he know what kind of person Princess Chen was? If he dared to get involved with Princess Chen, would he still be able to achieve hegemony in the future? Could it be that he really liked this woman so much that he could let go of everything in his heart? Thinking of this, she became more and more angry. After coming over, she went straight to the rockery. After turning around the rockery, she saw Chu Luiyue standing by the lake with his hands behind his back. There was only the eunuch Xiao Qizi behind him. He looked around but failed to find Xiao Wanru for a while. Miss Zhang. Xiao Qizi was the first to see Zhang Qilan. He hurried forward to greet her. This was the future Princess Yu. Of course, he did not dare to offend her. Chu Luiyue turned his face gloomily. The excitement on his face had faded. At this time, there was a trace of coldness. How could he be in a good mood after being schemed against? Seeing Zhang Qilan appear here, his eyes were dark and he did not see her joy at all. Zhang Qilan was angry again. "Greetings, Prince Yu." Zhang Qilan stepped forward and saluted. "Did you get someone to lure me here just now?" Chu Liuyue's eyes fell on Zhang Qilan's face, and his eyes were sharp. The more he thought about it, the more suspicious he became. Now Zhang Qilan's appearance also made him suspect her. "I didn't lure Prince Yu here." Zhang Qilan shook her head. At first, she didn't understand what he meant. Suddenly, an idea flashed in her mind and she became angry. "Did someone use my name to lure Prince Yu here to make an appointment?" She didn't directly mention Xiao Wanru's name because she wanted to see Chu Liuyue's reaction. "Someone used your name? You don't know?" Chu Liyue looked at her suspiciously. The suspicion in his eyes made Zhang Qilan feel wronged. Although she had never thought of marrying Chu Liyue before, she did not object since she knew it. Prince Yu was handsome and was indeed the object of admiration for many daughters of aristocratic families in the capital city. Compared with the rough Prince Shou, the sick and weak Prince Chen, and the ignorant Prince Xian, Prince Yu was the best candidate among the princes. But what did he mean now? Did he want to pour the dirty water on her and protect Xiao Wanru, who had a private meeting with him? What does Prince Yu mean? Did you see anyone coming? Zhang Qilan's eyes were burning with anger. She suppressed it and asked. "No one came. I just saw Miss Zhang." "If Miss Zhang has nothing to do, you can go back." Chu Liyue was very annoyed. He reached out and rubbed his forehead. It didn't seem to be Zhang Qilan. Who was it? Who had tricked him into coming here? He had always been cautious. If it weren't for Zhang Qilan, he wouldn't have come here at all. Even if he had an idea about Xiao Wanru, he wouldn't believe it if Xiao Wanru asked him to come here at this time. He knew very well that Xiao Wanru didn't have any feelings for him. It was like this in the past, and it was still like this now. When Xiao Wanru married into Prince Chen's mansion, he had figured it out, but he was still unwilling. But his behavior just now was very excessive. Chu Liyue didn't want to tell anyone about it, even Zhang Qilan. This was something he wanted to hide deep in his heart and didn't allow others to pry into it. "Your Highness, do you want to meet someone in this secluded place?" Zhang Qilan bit her lip. She knew that she shouldn't say this, but she couldn't control herself. She clearly saw Xiao Wanru here, but she didn't say that she was gone. She even didn't admit it. It was obvious that there was something fishy between them. "What do you mean, Miss Zhang?" Chu Liyue was worried and impatiently waved his hand. "Since you want to stay here and enjoy the flowers, I happen to have something to do, so I won't accompany you." After that, he turned around and was about to leave. He was in a really bad mood and didn't want to say anything to anyone. Moreover, he had to think about who had plotted against him. After entering the Fu today, he had only drunk a cup of tea. Could it be that there was a problem with the tea? "Your Highness, you don't want to accompany me, but are you willing to accompany others? It's a pity that no matter how good others are, they are still married." Zhang Qilan couldn't bear it anymore and screamed. Chu Liyue stopped and stretched out his hand to rub his eyebrows. He looked back coldly and said, "Miss Zhang is also a miss from an aristocratic family. You should know the trouble of talking. A woman should be quiet and gentle. Don't imitate a woman with a long tongue. Didn't Prime Minister Zhang teach you this?" After saying that, he waved his sleeves and left. Zhang Qilan's eyes turned red and tears fell from her eyes. She wanted to reach out and pull Chu Liyue, but he didn't have the mood to pity the person in front of him at this time. He had already walked far away in a few steps, leaving only a cold rebuke without any warmth. Looking at Chu Liyue's back leaving, Zhang Qilan couldn't help but turn her head and cry. She knew that Xiao Wanru was not a good person. At that time, in order to see Prince Yu at the city gate, she even secretly booked a private room. Now she hadn't married Prince Yu yet, but she was already treated like this. If she married him, how could she live? "Miss, don't cry. The servant girl hurriedly came forward to persuade her. She was standing behind Zhang Qilan and naturally saw the scene in the pavilion. She wanted to look at Zhang Qilan and said angrily while persuading her, "Miss, don't cry. It's useless for you to cry. You'd better think of a way. Princess Chen is really too hateful. How could she do such a thing? You also saw it, didn't you?" Zhang Qilan asked for an alliance. "Yes, I saw it. It's so hateful. Miss, you used to be so good to her." The servant girl was furious and felt injustice for her master. What should I do? What should I do?" Zhang Qilan threw herself into the servant girl's arms and cried. "Miss, don't be sad. We can't let Princess Chen run away in vain. Let's think of a way. We can't let Princess Chen take advantage of us." The servant girl was loyal and always stood in Zhang Qilan's point of view. She felt that it was Princess Chen's fickleness that made Prince Yu hate her miss. "What else can I do? I can't help it." Zhang Qilan wiped her tears and gritted her teeth. She would not let Xiao Wanru go. In the past, she was just suspicious and didn't want to get close to Xiao Wanru. Now that she saw the real scene, she couldn't swallow this anger. Fortunately, Infanta Yuan just turned her body and didn't pay attention to this side. Otherwise, where would she put her face? In the future, when she saw Princess Shou, she would feel inferior. A servant girl came over from the path. When she saw Zhang Qilan, she stepped forward and bowed. Zhang Qilan hurriedly turned her face away, not letting her see the traces of crying on her face. She gently covered her face with a handkerchief and said lightly, "No need for formalities. I met Princess Chen just now." Princess Chen also asked where Miss Zhang was. "I didn't know." The servant girl reported respectfully. Zhang Qilan's heart skipped a beat. "Princess Chen looked for me." "Princess Chen asked you?" The servant girl said. "She probably wanted to find out where she was and then have a rendezvous with Prince Yu." Zhang Qilan sneered and was about to send her away. Suddenly, she saw the plate in her hand and suddenly thought of something. She turned her gaze to the pavilion. There were 2 teacups in the pavilion. It was clear that the 2 of them had a rendezvous here just now. Prince Yu actually lied with his eyes open. "Are you going to clean up the tea now?" Zhang Qilan asked. When there was a banquet in the mansion, there would usually be servant girls to clean up the food and tea in the pavilions. If the people left, they would take away the tea. If the people didn't come, they would see that the temperature was not enough, and then they would send the newly brewed tea over. As for the fruit, it was the same. "Yes," the servant girl replied. The plate in her hand was empty at this time, but it would be half full when she took it away. "Is there a tea house nearby?" Zhang Qilan looked around and asked. If the tea was soaked for a long time, it would be cold. It was necessary to prepare a tea house nearby to boil the water and prepare the fruit. A tea house could serve several different resting places around. Generally, the mansion did this. It was impossible to send it from the kitchen. It was too far away and it would be cold by the time it arrived. "It's nearby. Does Miss Zhang need any snacks?" The servant girl thought that Zhang Qilan wanted to eat some snacks that were not available here. There were some regular snacks here, but there were a lot of snacks. Sometimes the snacks were placed differently. What Zhang Qilan wanted to eat might not be available here. "Are there a lot of snacks in the tea house?" "Yes, there are a lot. The 2 princesses specially ordered people to make them." "There are also some snacks from the Su Kingdom," the servant girl replied. "Let's go, take me there." A trace of coldness flashed in Zhang Qilan's eyes. She clenched her hands hard and then slowly let go. Xiao Wanru was ruthless, so don't blame her for being ruthless. "Yes, let me bring